Hello and welcome to the Nash Tackle Off the Hook podcast. Just to make you aware, this podcast may contain some explicit/offensive language, and if that's not your thing, you don't have to listen, but I have given you a warning. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
You don't know the half of it, but anyway. I'm skating on the thinnest ice known to man.
He said, and they put a poison in the tank that just instantly kills them. He went and we've run out of it, so we cut their heads off with shovels.
Suddenly, bang! The whole boat exploded.
Take your sort of 8-inch long piranha and imagine that at 4, 5, maybe 6 feet.
I said, I've revived your dead fish. F off, he said. You haven't.
That was just humongous. It was... I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
I'm just battling this fish out in the pond. I know it's a black man. I'm saying I'll never be a naughty boy again.
If you catch fish and you return them to the water, then you are my brother.
Joe Jaggar, welcome to the Nash podcast, mate. How are you?
Thank you, mate. I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
We're up north, boy, aren't we? We're at the hospitality of Whitmore Fishery, mate, which we have to say a massive thank you to. They've let us in, haven't they?
Yeah, massive thank you to them. Nice setting for us today on this cold December day.
This is your local, mate, isn't it?
It's as local as a decent fishery is to me, yeah.
You're right in the north of the north, ain't you, boy?
Yeah, there's not much past us apart from Scotland.
But you've made it. Do you know how I know you've made it? Not because you've been with Nash, not because you caught loads of carp home and abroad, which we're going to talk about, not because you recently represented England in the old feeder champs.
None of them, no.
None of them?
No.
He's got his name on his van. I pulled into the car park today, Jaggar on the side of his van. That's when you know a man's made it. So congratulations, mate.
Cheers, mate. First person that said that, but there you go.
What have you been up to recently?
A lot of fishing. I mean, when we spoke last week and we went through how much fishing I've done to do this, I didn't realise how much fishing I'd done. So when I've told the missus, I have been telling you.
You've done a lot.
I have, yeah.
Just the carp chapters alone, mate, and the intensity of that carp fishing. You've got, and I'm looking at my piece of paper now, some of the very best venues there has ever been. Some incredible fish. You've obviously got media work within that as well.
Yeah.
And then you seem to have come to some absolute astonishing revelation in your life where you've dragged it all in and decided to sit on a box, mate, haven't you?
Yeah. It's funny how life comes around at you, but you've got to go with it, haven't you?
It does. We're going to talk about all that, but we're going to start carp-wise. Now, you're from the north. We've talked about the north of the north, but essentially it's not synonymous, I wouldn't say, with the carp scene, if you like, and some of these venues we're going to talk about later. So talk to me a little bit about how things started and how you found your way into carp fishing rather than, which is probably geographically a better fit, the match fishing scene.
Just one of them things. As a kid, took fishing up, loved fishing, loved the outdoors, loved catching anything, whatever you can. And then I think it's also now, modern day, the draw for a child nowadays is carp fishing. Big fish. Catching these big carp that you see in the papers. It's quite a cool lifestyle of, camping. It's not camping, but you see it as camping out, living on the bank after these big carp. And I just got drawn to the carp. Like you said, there's not many carp waters. There wasn't many carp waters up north, never mind that far north. Just got on with it. Caught what I could, where I could. I mean, my first ever carp, believe it or not, was 24.5 pounds.
What?
Which then was a massive fish up there. In Cumbria, the biggest fish then was about 33. So that was massive.
Where was that from?
It was just the local water. I've got lucky, obviously. You can gather that.
Even now, I'd say, and Finn, Todd Hunter, is from near that neck of the woods. I'd say a 20-pounder is still a significant fish up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
£24 you'd be buzzing your head off.
But it was also a proper 24-pounder. It was linear, a proper old one. It wasn't one of these that's been thrown in at £20.
Here we go.
That was when I was, I think, 11. I think I was 18 when I broke that.
How'd you catch that at 11? Boilies and that? Were you on all that stuff?
Proper fishing. I mean, if you think to the rigs I was using like Kristen silkworm, like a Drennan, some sort of boilie hook. How that didn't tangle into an absolute heap.
It did, didn't it? But you still caught them.
Still caught. And it was on like Kevin Maddox's shelf life boilies and that sort of stuff that people watching this that have just got into it in the last few years, they wouldn't even know what half of the stuff we used back then. I mean, I'm not claiming it was old school, but how I even got anything, I don't know.
As if you caught a 24-pounder from Cumbria at 11. What boilies were you using? The old Tutti Frutti Richworths?
No, I was on Kevin Maddox ones.
Maddox,
yeah, and then, you remember them Fisher baits ones that you got in the tub, and you had to get one of them Drennan boiler needles because they were that hard, and you couldn't get anything through them.
Like marbles.
You could have left them out for a month, couldn't you?
I left them on the old rods for a while. I didn't know. Like, how old are you? You got smashed earlier, didn't you? We were outside. You were like, I'm only 30. Are you 35?
Well, he said, I can't believe you're 36. I said, I'm not, I'm 35.
He was absolutely hammering you out there, mate. Brutal. But yeah, we were a similar sort of age, but I remember those baits. But that up there is ridiculous at that age.
Yeah, but then it goes to show how long it took me to break that PB.
Yeah. Yeah, long old time.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, yeah, it's still a decent fish up there, but then you're just living in the moment and you don't realise how significant it is, but it was massive.
That sort of pathway, that you said there that obviously the draw was bigger fish, the carp bub got you. In terms of venues, in terms of stuff about, access to carp fishing, what was it like at the time?
Wasn't great at all. I mean, obviously as a kid I didn't drive. My dad never fished. He's always helped me with whatever he could fishing wise, and he's always been there for me. Took me above and beyond what I'd expect any parent to do, especially if they didn't do the fishing. But yeah, it was tough. There wasn't many venues up there. No day ticket waters. Like, I mean, even like here, something like this would have been fantastic for a kid.
Yeah.
There was nothing, but I did a lot of work at the time with Tight Lines, Sky Sports.
Yes, Keith mentioned you on his podcast, didn't he?
And we ended up going all over with them.
How'd you get that then? Was it young angler stuff?
No, Keith says that. It wasn't, it was...
Wait, don't go against Keith Arthur, mate.
No, it was a phone-in show.
All right.
So I used to phone in every week, ask a question every week.
Wait, what did you ask him?
Also, well, it wasn't Keith, though, was it? It was the guest.
The carp expert, yeah.
No, because I was doing all sorts of fishing at the time. I was still doing bits of sea fishing.
So you just ring up every week relentlessly?
Oh, yeah.
Just to get on telly?
You got a prize, didn't you?
Classic Northerner.
And they had me on every week asking. They were obviously good questions.
Yeah.
Because they've picked me to ask the questions. I remember asking Bob Nudd something. Bernard Cribbins.
Oh, wow.
Loads of people. I just kept getting sent all this gear. And when I was away on a skiing trip with school, they rang my mum and dad up and said I think it was Andy Story at the time. Andy Story from Chrysalis TV.
Yep.
And they thought, I was going to say, can you tell your lad to stop ringing? But they never. They said, can we take your lad fishing? And then they've come up. I twigged something was wrong this day, but my dad was like, right, we're going fishing. It was in the school holiday. We're going fishing there. Come on, let's go. No, we can't go till such and such. And something a little bit amiss. So I've walked in the tackle shop. Filming on the street, I hadn't clocked any of it. Keith's come out the store and said, come on, we'll take you fishing, all this film crew. And it just absolutely snowballed from there. Loads of trips with them.
No way.
Yeah. Me and my dad travelled all over the country going filming.
Doing every type of fishing or just match?
Yeah, every type of fishing. We went to Lechlade, trout fishery,
fishing,
next door to Horseshoe.
Yeah.
And it was a script with Bruno Brooks. Not many people knew who Bruno Brooks was, but he was a massive Radio 1 presenter.
Yeah.
We've had a fly fishing competition, me and him.
You batter him?
Did. Not intentionally.
He is a radio DJ.
Yeah, but he was a massive... Trout fishing was his favourite sort of fishing. And I was on all these fish on this peg where this water was coming in. So he said, right, we'll swap pegs. He hadn't had a fish out of this peg. I had one out of it. So anyway, I've had 3 trout. I think the biggest was £18 because they're farmed trout.
Gee, they were big. Yeah, they are still big fish in there, aren't they?
And the script was, he said, the winner, if I beat you, I get to keep your car. And he had this Porsche. I forget what it was. It wasn't the most fantastic Porsche. And the fishery owner said, you know, what are you doing? He said, oh, we're doing a script where he can drive off in my car. He said, I've got a better one than that in the garage. He pulls out this Ferrari.
Jeez.
And the script was that I took Bruno's keys, got in the Ferrari, and the Ferrari shot off. But my dad drove the Ferrari.
I was going to say, how old are you?
12.
Joyriding.
Dad's had a driving this Ferrari. Oh, it's brilliant. Honestly, you know, it's some special memories there. Went to Gold Valley. I've come from up in Cumbria with no commercial fisheries or anything like that. Keith's taking me on Gold Valley doing angling time shoots, Sky Sports shoots, all sorts. Met Will Raisin when I was like 12.
What was that like?
He's a man of few words anyway.
I don't know Will that well. I've talked to him a few times.
He's so focused on his fishing, but yeah, I don't think I've ever met him since, to be honest. But yeah, just seeing Gold Valley from where I'd come from, everybody says, "Oh, Gold Valley's no fishing." A lot of fishing there then, especially compared to where I'd come from.
Blinking, now that is some experience. Why do you think that they took you under? Just because you were so relentless?
Possibly because I was so much of a punisher, yeah. But it was just another string to their bow on the TV. We hooked up a massive relationship with Nige Botherway.
Yeah, legend.
We fished a couple of times on Ensham Hall. I don't know if you've been there. Peter Drennan's spot.
Never.
It's like a big country estate in Oxford.
Wow.
Where Terry Hearn did the Tell and Jacko go carp fishing.
Yeah. I know where it is.
So yeah, I was fishing there as a kid a couple of times. Did loads, mate. Absolute loads. Went on the Severn with Nige Nige Williams. Pike fishing. Yeah.
Mate, that sounds like the dream. As like a little kid. Yeah. I used to watch for Thursday nights, tight lines religiously. Yeah. Young Angler of the Month. There was that competition. You send your photos in and all that. But to think that you would go from phoning in to then going fishing with those people and being able to basically go fishing with the very best anglers of their chosen discipline on the best venues is a touch, mate.
Yeah, it was something of kids' dreams, really. Like I keep saying, but especially where I came from, and there was no access to any sort of fisheries like that.
Yeah, I suppose, I don't know where you're from. There are big old reses, isn't they?
For fishing in general, it's a fantastic spot because it's so close to the Lake District.
Yeah.
But what you want out of it, pike fishing wise, it's probably the best place in the country.
Yeah.
Other than
trout,
that,
there's a fair bit of trout about, isn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah,
a lot of natural waters.
Yeah, definitely. From that point, you've had a great, brilliant, sort of unprecedented start, if you like, in terms of experiences, knowledge. Where does your sort of journey take you? Because obviously there's that pivotal moment for every carp angler, if you like, where they've got the bug, you've had this extra element of sort of exposure, but then you get wheels, you get the ability to be able to go to places that weren't in your reach before. What does that look like at that time for you?
Definitely stayed local, maybe a lot longer than I perhaps should have, but I did a lot of fishing. But I was never always size driven, the carp. I always wanted to fish the coolest venues that I possibly could. And, there was a few of them up there. Anywhere that there's no fishing is obviously a massive draw.
Was that a bit of you?
Yeah, I love that.
Why is that?
Because other people aren't fishing it. I wanted to fish the places where other people weren't.
Where do you think that's from?
I don't know. Bit of a rebel, but...
Is that something that was characterised in other parts of your life? School, likewise? Were you a bit anti?
No. I remember when my mum and dad went on holiday the first time and left me the house. And I was never allowed to go fishing overnight when I had work or college.
Yeah.
Because my mum used to think you were just sat there by the edge of the canal there all night. So you'd not get any sleep. As soon as they went on holiday, mate, I was out fishing every night.
Were you?
Yeah.
You didn't tell them that, did you?
They'll probably know when they watch this. But... yeah, I don't see anything bad. There's no malice in that wanting to go fishing, is there? But yeah, I was out fishing every night as soon as I had the chance.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad how it captivates you. But for you, what life apart from fishing? What did it look like? What was it? Were you quite academic? Were you not academic? Were you quite sort of practical?
Not massively academic or practical, I won't say. I went to sixth form as soon as I left school.
Right.
Because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Wasted 2 years of my life. Completely wasted it. Got myself an apprenticeship at 18, plumbing. Not something I ever set out to do. Just came about. I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed working in people's houses, doing bits of jobs, seeing something constructive. And it was always, I used to go and watch football quite a bit. Could never play football. Everybody thinks I've played football because I coach football and I watch football. But yeah, fishing was always everything. I have had a couple of breaks from fishing when I've, had times in my life when I've gone out, partied and stuff like that, but there was never many of that. But it always came back, and it always came back pretty quickly. But yeah, it's fishing's been everything really.
It's mad, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
I think when I looked at it, and like, obviously, I'm very fortunate. I get to speak to a lot of people who still sort of very much like live and breathe it at the top end of carp fishing. But for you, in terms of a journey, in an individual who's 35, my God, mate, that is a lot of fishing. It's extensive. And it's sort of not just in the one discipline. You've sort of negated, gone into match fishing, and you just as sort of concentrated hardcore, if you like, into that as you ever were with your carp fishing, mate.
In anything I've ever done in life, I've never done it by halves. You know what I mean? I've always put the extra effort in, done things properly, wanted to reach like the heights. For anybody living up there, you could have quite easily stayed up. There's people in other walks of life up there that'll never leave. Because it's cul-de-sac, it's 45 minutes in, 45 minutes out to the motorway.
Yeah.
You could quite easily fish there all your life, think that the world ends at that roundabout. But no, I just wanted to do what I could, as much as I could, and got plenty of that left in me.
Mate, it's good to hear, and I don't doubt you for a second when you say that. Your carp fishing chapters, your first sort of, I don't know, proper, if you like, I don't want to say that word, but you know what I mean, the first sort of definitive carp venue for you. What was that?
We'd had a couple of trips away, linear.
Okay.
For some reason, we used to go to Cuttle Mill a little bit.
Cuttle Mill in the Midlands, yeah.
My mate Ozzy, he's one of my best mates, still is, even though he doesn't fish. He was best man at my wedding, done loads of fishing. He used to go to Cuttle like 2 or 3 times a year. Man, it's days only.
Yeah.
You sleep in the barn. Quite a long way for us. It wasn't easy fishing.
No.
And the fish weren't even that big. I couldn't get it. And we used to go to the dog and doublet of a night and then walk back. Yeah, I don't know why he was so keen on going there, but that was my first proper trip. All of a sudden, I don't know what it was, wanted to fish Redsmere. I heard these stories about Redsmere, wanted to fish it. Me and my mate Kurt got in the car, went and found it. Because, you know, you couldn't go on your phone then, find places. Went and found it, had a walk around, got talking to a few people. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to come down every weekend. I bought a ticket, he never. I went on my own. And I got really fired into Redsmere. I was turning up on a Friday night after work. I was fishing the Friday night, the Saturday night, staying the Sunday night, even though I wasn't allowed.
Jeez.
I had a girlfriend at the time that was at university in Lancaster, so I was telling my mum that on a Sunday night I'd stop at her house and then come back to work on the Monday morning. Yeah, but I was packing up at like 4 in the morning on Redsmere. Never catching anything on them morning. But you'd sometimes get a good move into a peg on the Sunday night. You know, you think, where's somebody caught over the weekend, and you'd move into that swim. Bike time would be about 7 or 8 in the morning, you'd be on the motorway by then. But, you know, effort equals reward. Did catch a few fish in the end.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a few fish. Always remember my first fish out there, which you do on many waters, I suppose. But there was this one night, we were on the meadow. There's like 6 anglers in a line. It's quite tightly pegged. This lad called Scouts Lee. And he used to fish dead light leads, dead soft rods, bobbins, like really slack line. I've been woke up to my bite alarms, ran out, somebody shouted, "Don't pick it up." It's me. Fish had gone through it. It was a bream. He was about 4 pegs away.
Jeez, that's some bream, boy.
It was just kited on his soft. So you're all out redoing your rods at like 2 in the morning.
Not the one.
About an hour later, beep, 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 beep. I've actually got one. Everybody was up anyway because they were still redoing the rods. And yeah, that was my first fish. Absolutely buzzing. £27 common.
New PB?
Would have been for a common. Oof. Yeah, would have been for a common. Next night, same crack, rods out, eat as you like. The fish, £24 mirror. So I've gone from no fish
to 2.
To 2 fish. Like that.
How were you fishing?
Sorry?
How were you fishing?
I was boiler fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fishing really, really bad that year. They'd had an algae bloom and the fishing was a bit upside down. You couldn't put much bait in. And it was fishing harder than it ever fished. Not, you were still picking fish up, but yeah, that was 2 fish in 2 nights. I I managed one more that autumn. I had the big stocky, £29. I thought it was going to go 30, which would have been massive. I'd have loved a Cheshire 30. Don't think I ever got one, to be honest. But yeah, the big stocky. And then just like that, Stoke gave up the lease on Redsmere. I don't know whether they gave it up. I don't know. But that was it. It was Prince Albert water next year.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Prince Albert ticket. So it was a case of searching somewhere else to go.
It's interesting, Redsmere. I think it's so synonymous with like Frank chucking them long fluoros, the sort of that whole thing. Did you get into that? Was that what would influence you around that venue? What was it that sort of made you? Because Redsmere, I know for a northerner maybe it resonates a bit more, but for me, when I think of it, and I'm a similar age, that is the outlying sort of, I don't know, impression, message I get about the fishing. It ain't easy, but if you chuck a bright one long, you'll catch one. But then I think more in detail, and there's the likes of Gaz Ferrum, Ali, everybody else who's been on there subsequently as a bit of a breeding ground. For you, the first influence to go there, you said you had to go there. What was it? What sort of influence?
There was a lad from up our neck of the woods. He'd fished it. So I'd heard about it through that. I honestly think it might have been Miles's pieces.
Yeah?
Around the time, because Miles lived on. I didn't know him at the time. I met him at Linear. We became quite good mates. Sort of indirectly, we'd never fished the same waters.
Yeah. Okay.
Met him on Redsmere when he was walking around talking to somebody.
He was young, wasn't he? When he was on, he got there really young, I think. I'm trying to think back to his podcast.
I think he's a year older than me. He lived on there from about the age of 14.
Yeah, that's right.
People took him under his wing. Dad just dropped him off. Dad's a lovely guy, but again, like mine, no interest in fishing.
Yeah.
No interest in fishing whatsoever. None of his family have. He's doing as much now as he was when I knew him sort of 15 years ago, and he was probably doing more before that. He's never stopped, has he?
Yeah, relentless, man.
But he was in the mags at the time, and at that time in my life, that was what you wanted to do. To write for the mags, you wanted to be a sponsored angler. It's not like nowadays. If you went on Facebook, said, I want to be a sponsored angler, you'd have 100 people shutting you down and saying, you'll never be a sponsored angler, you'll never earn a living out of it. Back then, you didn't have it, so that dream was still alive. You could be whatever you wanted to be because you didn't have the people you have now to shut you down. So it was like, right, I'm going to go and fish Redsmere. Catch the snub, it's a pretty one. Catch, what was the other one? Was it the male? No, the male was dead then. Might have been ringtail. I was going to go and catch all them three, and I was just going to be a full-time angler for the rest of my life. Obviously, that's never happened. But
do you know why I'm laughing, mate? Because when you said, come there, we'll do the podcast here with the old wood burner in front, mate, you're still living the dream. Here it is. The old log burner in shop, mate.
There or thereabouts, mate, yeah.
No, I get it, mate. I think I know exactly what you're saying. It was that, wasn't it? And as you say, social media hadn't come in. That whole change hadn't happened. And it was all still like very much Dreamsville, wasn't it, when you were quite young and hitting those venues?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to my local newsagents the last Thursday of every month. There's Cartwell coming.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not been on this morning's delivery. When will it be in? Well, it could be on tomorrow's delivery. So you'd be going in and getting it, and you'd sit outside opening it. And that was what you had, And I reckon, looking back now, a lot of my angling adventures came from what I'd read. Because the next venue, after Redsmere, was Manchester Club Lake. I nearly called it its name.
Oh, good save.
And Jamie Classic, who's again become a good friend of mine, he was writing about the Manchester Club Lake. So I've bumped into somebody on Redsmere. I said, hey, look at this, I'd love to fish it. He said, oh, it's round the corner from mine. He said, you need to ring Nick. Sure, it was Nick's Angling in Manchester. And get yourself a winter ticket. So I've rang him. Sort of proper tackle shop owner. Yeah, if you ring me back on such and such, I'll sort you out. And that was all you got off him.
Yeah.
So that morning, I've rang him at like 9 o'clock. What's your name then? So I've said, right, you need to attend the meeting at such and such pub in, it begins with a D in Manchester.
No idea, mate.
Oh.
Droylsden. I ain't got a clue.
Rope. It might not even begin with a D, but it was a ropey area. It was one of them where they had shutters over the windows and everything. And I've just walked into the pub.
How old are you here now? 18?
No, a bit older than been 21.
Okay.
I've come for the fishing meeting. Yeah, it's in the back room. So I've gone in. I didn't know anybody. And it's like, what's your name, son? They've had this meeting. this was really, really hard water to get into. But it had Northwest 40 pounder.
Yeah.
And I think there was 12 members on this syndicate.
Was there only 12?
Yeah, but it then bumped up to 40 with winter tickets.
Okay.
They said at the meeting, nobody's fishing. My mate Roger Bacon, who you've had on the podcast, he ran them. Nobody's fishing it. He said, I've seen what happens on waters down south where people are fishing it. Bait's going in all the time. The fish just get bigger. We want bigger fish. He said, can we have a vote on putting all this year's winter tickets to full tickets? And it was like that. You were in. Everybody voted full ticket.
Of course they did.
So, yeah, because there was probably more winter tickets than full tickets.
12 of them that can fish at the rest of the time.
It was there or thereabouts numbers, but yeah, it was like that. I've gone from getting my winter ticket to getting a full ticket like that. So that was next on the agenda, the Manchester Club Lake.
Talk to me about, obviously it's hard to get in, but in terms of, there's the motivation of a 40 pounder. It's a pretty significant sort of, how can you say, area iconic fish. Your fishing on there, was that, would you say, the first place where you targeted an individual fish, or was it just about getting involved in that venue, getting stuck in and getting a few bites?
I targeted individual fish where I lived.
Okay, yeah.
I'd had 30s. It was one of them, this is the key to becoming a full-time angler. It was still, that dream was alive. And looking back now, it was daft, but I had a good time trying to achieve it. I've done a week on there. Yeah, in March. I went for a week.
Go on, boy.
I'd started this new job because at the time as well, I was in and out of work because it was like 2008 when there was a bit of a recession. There wasn't that much work about, but I didn't need anything because I was living at home with my parents. I had my van that I had to put fuel in. I think I was on free bait off Nash at the time.
Go on, boy.
I think it started then. Yeah, it had started. And I'd started this new job. I thought, right, I need to go fishing. I had a week booked with Miles on Christchurch. He was taking me down on a guestie. But I wanted to do a week on the Manchester Club Lake. Dying to say the name. And just emailed whoever it was in the office. I said, I've had a pre-booked skiing holiday that I forgot to tell you about. And they said, yeah, it'll have to be unpaid. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I've gone down Christchurch with Miles for a week. I think we had a night out somewhere, daft like crew.
Incredible.
Oh, we loved them nights out there. We just, Saturday night, I'd sleep on his sofa and then we'd go fishing on Sunday a couple of times. And I think it just thawed out Christchurch. My first ever taste of zig fishing.
Right.
Loved it. Chucking 3 bits of foam out, that was it.
You loved it?
I've come to love it. I do. He's had one straight away. It only thawed out 6 hours ago. He was on the way down. He said, we might have to get the boat out and break the ice off. He's had one, 20-odd pounder.
Jeez.
So we both got our heads down because we've been up early. I've had one in the afternoon.
Have you?
Absolutely massive in the tail.
Oh.
Just had to unhook it. Put it back. Never had another fish. I've had 2 fish at Christchurch. 2 fish off Lynchill. Both of them foul.
Were they? What, on zigs?
Yeah. One out of Christchurch, one out of Willow. Both of them foul up.
Mate, from where you're from, you're claiming those, mate. Do you know what I mean? All day long, they're lifted up.
But yeah, that was a big 30 as well, and that's like a February, March 30. It's just gone back. Right, so after that trip, I've gone home, seen the girlfriend for the weekend, and I've gone down on Monday morning to the Manchester Club Lake. I've read Jamie Clossick's article, how he caught in the winter, and I've picked the peg. Not had anything in 5 nights. Not seen a fish.
You fishing bait, not zigs?
Fishing bait, but till my later years of my carp, I was too aggressive.
Were you bombing it?
I never used to catch in spring, and I was just so aggressive. Never have anything in spring because I put too much bait.
How much were you putting in? You got free bait, haven't you?
I don't know. I don't know what I've put in, but it'd have been too much. So anyway, that's the week gone. Somebody said, oh yeah, I wonder how Joe gets on next time he can do it. And it's like that. It was a bit hostile because those people didn't want people on there for a week. Because a lot of people, if they can't do time or put effort in, they just try and drag other people down. And I got that feeling. Most lads were sound. I've got to know Roger Busy really well over the over the course of being on there in the spring. There was some Dinton stockies went in.
Right.
Lovely fish. I had 3 of them in an afternoon. That was my only hit. That was my only capture of the spring. Then the big one came out. The big one came out at 33 or 35 pound. I thought, I'm finding it hard on here. I find it really hard. I'm not sure if I want that fish, 33, 35 pound. I could go and have a fish that big somewhere else. So I pulled off. But I'll go back in the autumn when I can fish on my terms, and that goes back to the baiting. That goes back to the way I fish. I've always done better at the back end of the year when the fish are feeding. So, went down for a trip. Rogers rang me, can't fish the lake. I think it was Travellers moved on to the site outside it. He said, we've shut the lake, nobody's going through. Because it was like Fort Knox to get through.
Right, yeah.
There was a barrier. Then there was a double set of gates.
Yeah.
And you drove that. You had to shut everything behind you. Right there. It was like 2 sets of gates. Then you'd get in the car park. Then you had to get out of the car park through a gate. Then you had to walk the golf course to it.
Yeah.
Then there was a gate to get into the lake itself.
Oh, my Lord.
So anyway, we couldn't fish. We ended up having a trip on one of the big drinking water reservoirs in Manchester.
Okay.
And it's brilliant. Never caught anything. Jason did, Roger's mate. And thought, right, on my way home, I'll go and throw some bait in at the lake. So I baited up this spot, baited this peg, because I knew it had good autumn winter form. And it was casting across to gaps in the trees. But you could fish 3 different spots from this peg.
Okay.
It was like 28, 30 foot in the middle, shelved up. Lovely.
What was it? What was the size of the lake in general? How big is it?
Not massive. It's quite wide at the shallow end, and it goes down to a bit of a point. Probably 6, 7 acres.
Stock-wise?
Really deep. Stock-wise. They'd always been putting fish in. I bet there's 100 fish in there.
Was there?
Yeah, there'd been 100 fish in there.
Okay.
So I put some bait in on the way home. Thought, do this. I could drive down here of a night and put bait in. It's like 90 to 100 miles. But I could drive down after. I had nothing else to do. I had no kids.
Yeah.
So I come down on like the Tuesday. I popped in at Roger's house, seen him. He had his mate there who wasn't a fisherman. And he said, so what have you done then? Come down for a barrel. I said, throw some bait in. He thought it was crackers. I'm pretty sure Roger does, and he goes fishing. And chuck some bait in. And then gone down on the Thursday. I didn't fish that weekend. I've then gone down again. At this point, the girlfriend said, what are you doing down there? Why are you going down there after? So I've took her at the Trafford Centre. Dropped her off at the Trafford Centre. Gone and thrown the bait in. Come back. The next week, I'm on like probably about my 5th session. I've probably put 20 boilie on these 3 spots. I'm on about my 5th bait up. Thought, what I'll do, set the codes on the gate to a code I know. And then when I come back, see if anybody's been in between. Nobody going in between. I had the lake to myself. And then I was scheduled to finish work on the Friday, go down on the Friday. No way I'd have ever hit the spots.
Yeah.
Thought I'm wasting that night. So I rang in sick at work. But I've had to go and put fuel in the van, haven't I? And as I've pulled out of the petrol station, the lads I work with drove past.
No.
They'd have seen me anyway. And nothing come of it. But yeah, I've headed down to Manchester. Got there for about dinner time. Weren't actually allowed to walk around to the other side to bit through the day because it's part of the golf course.
Yeah, of course.
I seen that there was a bit of fence down, so I've had to go over and investigate. Anyway, I've shut and must have had 20 casts to get this. What the other 2 have gone in pretty plumb. This one, the left-hand rod, I've had about 20 casts. Kept going in. And I've done it until it's right.
What, tight?
No, not so much tight, but where I wanted it and felt a nice drop. Anyway, that stayed there. I've rang Roger, I said, there's a bit of fence down. He's come down, all big guns, because he's quite a hard fella.
Yeah.
He's thinking his porch is on there.
Yeah.
He said to me, right, Joe, if you see anything over there in the night, you ring me. He said, I will be down as soon as my phone rings. I've drifted off to sleep. I've had this bite. Sure, it's midnight. Watched on my phone. Picked up. I thought I knew. It's the rod that's took 20 casts to get out.
Yeah, classic.
I thought I knew what fish it was. Motorways in the background. Seen it flank in front of me. There's only one fish in that lake that could be.
You thought it was at half lane?
There's only one fish it could have been. And at the time, Nash never had a chod hook. We were using the twist there.
Yeah.
But coming out the back of the eye.
No way.
Yeah. So you're coming backwards and it created a lovely curve. I had it on a hinge stiff. And I remember Basie saying to me, you'll get all your fish in, all your little fish that don't pull much, you'll get in. But that hook's working itself out.
Yeah.
Them big 40-pounders, they'll pull out. That's all that was going through my mind when I knew I had that.
Cheers, Basie.
Anyway, I've got it in the net.
Oh.
Net down, secured it. What time is it? Right, I'm going to ring. Classic.
I thought you were going to ring Paul, mate, or Rog.
We'll come to that. So I've rang Classic because he'd have been up. He had the bar at the time.
Oh, wow.
The bar in Blackpool across the road from the syndicate. So he'll have been bouncing. And he said, you've had the half lin, haven't you? I said, yeah. I said, how did you know? He said, moon phase. Because he's mega into moon phase.
Yeah, he is.
He said, I knew there was going to be some big fish come out this weekend.
What do you think about that, mate?
He's mega into it, isn't he? You're into it or you're not. I don't believe in coincidence, so yeah. Anyway, he said, put the phone down now and weigh it. He said, that fish will be 40 pounds. Put the phone down now. I can't lift it. Struggling.
The little boy from Cumbria.
I've settled on £40 for.
Yeah, nice.
That was the weight I settled.
Was that your first 40-pounder?
Yeah. We'll come to that. We'll come to the weight again in a minute because it gets bigger. So who's the next person to ring? Who's going to be there as soon as the phone rings?
Thinking now. Tooled up thinking someone's poaching the lake.
Didn't answer his phone, did he?
Oh, fair play. I respect that.
So I rang him again. Didn't answer his phone. He was going to be there as soon as the phone rang. So I'm there thinking, right, Roger thinks it's poach. I've got the biggest fish in the lake. Sat waiting for him. I'm thinking somebody's going to come and take it off me. Didn't sleep. So I was thinking, who can I ring? And I've put on Facebook, on top of the world, or something daft like that. Busy's rang me. He must have been sat there.
Yeah.
He's rang me, you've had it, haven't you? I can feel it. I said, yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. Buzzing for you, Joe. Nobody deserves it more, the effort you put in. And then that's like probably getting to 1 a.m. now. You've got till daylight hours. I couldn't get to sleep.
No, of course not. Not with the responsibility of that.
I've rang my mate Waz, who fishes a bit more casually, and I worked with him. So I've rang him. What do you want, you kid? I said, well, you'll be fishing, won't you? He said, well, it's a good job I am because you don't want me. And anyway, I've had a crap with Waz. I think I rang my mate Sawyer. Rang Jason Umney.
Yeah.
Remember him from the Mag days?
Yeah, I do.
Rang him. Because he's a Manchester lad, and I thought, well, he could come down and do some shots. He was away fishing. Not that he ever went fishing, but that weekend he was away.
Classic.
Then Rogers rang me at like 8 a.m. He must have had 20 missed calls off me. He said, my missus had put my phone on silent. He said, I nearly jumped out of bed when I seen it on him. So he said, right, I'll be down in a bit. So he's come down. Do you want anything? Yeah, a bottle of pop. I've been up all night. I've only got brewgie. I need some energy. And he's come down. He said, right, we'll reweigh it. He said, I know you've said it's £40 for, but it's just under. You know, it was that when you put it in the sack. So he's looked me square in the eye. He said, what did you say it was? I said, £40 for. He said, well, it's grown then. I said, why? He said, it's £40.9 now.
Quality.
And so it's probably a little bit heavier than that. But, you know, I think when weights of fish only matter at the time, don't they? It's the memories and everything. So I've packed up. I was there for 2 nights. I've packed up. You know, I never even put that rod back out because that's the one fish you're after.
Yeah.
So I've packed up. We went to Costco, got all the... Yeah. Oh, he had a Costco card. I'd never seen a Costco.
No.
No, and got all the photos printed out because we did them on his camera. Went to McDonald's, picked his mate Jason up because he wanted to come and see the pictures.
Did he?
Got them both from McDonald's. Jason couldn't believe that I was buying him a McDonald's. He was absolutely made up with it. I was like, Jason, I'll buy you $5 worth of McDonald's. It's the least of my worries. Don't worry about it, mate. Oh, he was over the moon. He was happier than I was in that fish. And that was that, really. It was like, right, Barrow were playing FC United the day after away that I'd said I couldn't go to. Like, oh, I can go to that now. And Roger's saying, get yourself on Clifton. He said, what would Terry Earn do? Would Terry Earn go home and go to the football? Get yourself on Clifton. Driven down. I've gone and seen, I think Clossic was on. No, he wasn't. Just had a walk around, acquaint myself with the place. Never fished. I went to the Barrow game. Barrow got beat. Yeah, Barrow got beat. Well on the pitch in Manchester, so it was all right. And then it was like, right, I need to get on Clifton. So I threw a sickie at work on. I did an overnighter on Clifton. I never got a feel for the place.
Did you not?
No, I never got a feel for the place. Met some cracking lads on there. Yeah. Really nice bunch of lads.
What was it about you didn't click with, do you think?
Didn't like how much open water there was, I don't think. Just seemed... Everywhere was slowing down at that. So I'd hit that at the right time of year. Because I was in tune with the place, with the baiting and everything. Even though that was my first night on there, first bite.
Yeah, you'd put in the groundwork, hadn't you?
Yeah, I think if I'd have stayed on there all autumn, I'd have filled my album full of cracking fish out there. But it was the one big one. Just didn't click with Clifton. I fished there on bonfire night. That was eventful. That was one to watch. There's fireworks going off all over.
Kicking off, yeah.
But yeah, the temperatures were slowing down, and it was like I'd rather be when it's a bit more alive. And I never went back to Clifton.
How come the draw of Angry not great enough? No,
never used to come out that much, did it?
No, true.
Classic had it the following spring, and I think that was first time in 4 years. Yeah, it didn't come out often enough. There wasn't that many backup fish. Probably bottled it a bit, didn't I? It was probably a little bit too hard.
Oh, I think you make a call, don't you? There's that many places in the grand scheme of things, even at that time, that you do make a call of what's worth your investment and what's not. To have your first 40-pounder as that half lin from that venue is epic. That's as carpy as it gets, mate, really, especially in the north.
Yeah. There's other waters that I could have gone to that fish hadn't been out that autumn. That Goldendale Common. That hadn't been out. I should have gone there. I can't believe I never went.
Lever, did you not fancy that? Or was that not known about? Did you not know about that at the time?
That one wasn't known about at the time. Sam Toro Sidders, I think he put that one on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I don't know why that isn't backed out every single day of the week.
I don't know why.
It's just one of them venues, isn't it? It's not.
Let's not talk too much about that one. Mega one, though. Mega one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of starting point, that northern grounding as well, you met some significant figures which you talked about.
Yeah.
Jamie Clossick, Mr. Bacon, who's been on the podcast. Yeah. Jamie's been on the podcast, obviously. Your voyage from there, mate, you've got a relationship here that you've forged with Nash as well in terms of bait. You're very much sort of fishing the waters, catching the carp as well, that are sort of, I don't know, the epicentre of all things northern, but also all things in terms of the scene. You talked about Carp Talk being significant. The north, they were significant fish. For you, were you on that pathway to being full-time angler and fulfilling your dreams? And what was next, if so?
Next, I was working for a firm that did a lot of council work. It dried up in March. Didn't renew the contract till April.
Nice.
And, well, I never used to catch anything in spring, so
yeah,
that depends how you look at that. Got laid off in the March. I had a little bit of money in my bank account, and I obviously had my free bait, and the world's your sort of oyster. I just kept going fishing until somebody told me to stop, really. Split up with my girlfriend off the back of it.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that fuss because my head was into fishing. I probably was, to be fair. Just got a ticket on a spot in Norfolk.
Right.
So diagonal full length of the country from where I live.
Ridiculous trek, isn't it?
£50 though.
I don't care, mate. How far was that for you?
Yeah, but I wasn't going that often. I was staying down there.
Well, yeah.
Yes and no, yeah. I did a few long trips. That was hard.
That's got to be was it 5.5, 6 hours? What's that?
Yeah, it'd have been 6 hours because it's horrendous roads as well. You're on an A road for the majority of Norfolk, aren't you?
Yeah, A17, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to get it wrong.
Well, I could be wrong, but I think it's the one.
That was the strangest water I've ever fished. It had this out of bounds.
Right.
So where were the fish?
Anything out of bounds?
Out of bounds. And just sat in there all day. Didn't use up any energy, so they didn't really have to feed. And it was ridiculous. Because the fish was £50, Darryl and Terry had it the year before. Everybody wanted to fish it.
Yeah.
You still had to get a ticket. It really pressured, so they didn't come out. I actually watched this 50-pounder at first light swim under my lines. I reckon if one was higher than the other, it'd have swam under and over because it was that glued up. Just went back into that pounds.
Oh, that's
So it'd been out in the night.
desolate, isn't it?
Yeah, and I had a fish. First fish out there, I was next to Jerry Hammond. He can't have more.
Jerry Hammond.
Oh, he moaned and moaned and moaned. We had, the fishing was horrendous. Went to the pub one day with a couple of army lads.
Yeah.
They got absolutely trolleyed. Both lost the tickets.
Did they?
Yeah, the police came down to get them because the bailiff wouldn't get them. The police rang the military police. Come on.
Did it get to that level?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, they moved when he came down.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and that was about the highlight of it. There was 1 week when there wasn't a fish in the out of bounds. Somebody had done something.
Yeah, somebody soaked it up or something.
They hadn't just moved.
Yeah.
You've gone from not seeing a fish short, they were coming out everywhere. I had 3 bites in 24 hours.
Jeez, something's gone on, hasn't it?
Yeah. The big one didn't come out. And I was fishing with Sean Leverett at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got really, really pally with Sean, stayed at his Elstow. Lovely guy, lived for his fishing, I should say. Hardly does it now. Yeah. And we just packed up one morning and said, come on, let's not come back. And he had a ticket on a water somewhere else and it took me on as a guest. And we never went back. And the fish didn't come out till the autumn, so we hadn't missed anything. And that was that. So that was my Norfolk chapter.
Written off. Absolute write-off. Funny, mate.
I had an Elstow ticket.
That's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this again like classic influence, or what's drawn you to Elstow? Because you fished Elstow too, didn't you?
Yeah. It goes back to what I said earlier about wanting to fish the cool venues.
Yeah, okay.
Because that was like mega tough. No, I think the influence with that was Kev Wilson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
His writings in Carp World about it, about how it was bottomless. A lot of the venues up by me, I know they're not fantastic venues, but they're really deep.
Yeah, you're used to deep water, aren't you?
Yeah. I thought this is a bit of me, this. Big fish. They loved the big winds. They loved that sort of weather. So I've gone and started on there in the middle of summer. When it's lovely weather. Couldn't find it. Could not find it. I've rang John Mack at about 5 a.m. He's not answered. I rang Jack Brown. Because he lives around there. He didn't know where it was. I could find the village of Elstow, but that was nowhere near it. I think I rang Matt Downing.
Did you?
That worked at Nash, Nipples. And
Nipples.
I think he pointed me in the right direction. So I found it. I've got the gate code. I've unlocked it. And I bumped into Mick Henderson, who was with Nash at the time. He's on Elstow 1. Elstow 2 was tasty for him. And he's giving it the old, what are you doing here, lad? And I said, is that pit 2? Are you going on there? I said, yeah. It's a bit barren. He said, what are you expecting? And did my first session on there. Ian Bailey was on there, Corder fella, he was on there. Sort of knew him to speak to, so that wasn't a bad start.
You're mega angry, and yeah.
Yeah. 2 fish in my first weekend.
Are you taking a mickey?
Couldn't believe it.
What, the mother and the twin, job done, go home?
Twin was dead and I never caught the mother, so no.
Well, that's ended that chapter.
But yeah, I had 2 stockies. So I've rang Classic, absolutely bouncing that I've had these 2, and he's just there's a lot more fish in there, no?
Yeah, he did fish it proper, didn't he?
Yeah, cheers, Jamie. Nice one for that. And just gone somewhere else for a few days, but I've got back. Can't have been the next week. Been the week after. And I just wanted to fish this swim called the Terminator. Don't know why. I've driven all the way down there with just wanting to fish this one swim. And I've set up in it and it wasn't right. And 2 nights into my trip, you're only on 3 nights on there.
Right.
And then you had to get off for a night. So you sort of had to use your time wisely. I've woke up, looked out, and I've just seen this fish come out. Gears on the barra. I'm round there. Dumped the gear in the swim. I've gone and sat with Jag Jim.
Yep.
first time I met him. And really friendly guy. Really keeps himself to himself, but such a nice guy. Very good angler as well. He's got to be up there with one of the best I've ever seen. And I started pecking his head about the fishing here, what other fish are in. And he's shown me these fish. And he's shown me this big one, twisted scale on its back. So I've got him a peg. I found the religious bottom of the shelf in this decoy swim.
Was it like?
Oh, yeah, bottom of the shelf, 27 foot.
Yeah.
Kev wrote about it being 29. The water was a bit further up. That's as it got. I've put a load of boilie on that rod, bit on that. I've been sat there doing something and this rod has just absolutely melted off.
What time is it?
Oh, the wind's blowing a hoolie as well, by the way. It's proper weather. It's in the middle of the afternoon.
Oh.
Bright sunshine, but it's absolutely blowing a hoolie. You could barely stand up in it. So I've picked the rod up and it's still going and it's going and it's going and it's finally stopped. I'm just gaining a little bit of line. 10 minutes later, I reckon I've got my pole elastic marker on my spool. It's heighted that, just hit the top. I've seen this fish that I'd seen on Jim's camera with a twisted scale. I'm thinking, I know what fish that is. It was massive. And it just wallowed on the top.
Oh.
It was a little bit of distance out.
In all the wind and everything.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, I didn't, because I've got no line in the water. So I dipped my tip straight away. I thought I have to get this rod under the water so that when that goes like that, there's something to cushion it. I couldn't reach it with a net because of the wind. And it's just sat there, give itself up. Finally got the net under it. And it was twisted scale, 38.14.
Ooh.
Second session.
Mate, you clicked with this place, didn't you?
Yeah, it went downhill after that. But, absolutely bouncing with that. I was catching fish and I was really in love with the place. Caught stockies after that. A bit weird. Couldn't put my finger on why. I spent a lot of times fishing in the snag swim because there was a number of fish there. I would see the big one there quite often. I'd see scaly there quite often, but I think because there was the number of fish there, you were just picking.
Yeah, stocky.
Yeah. Ollie came down, did a feature with us. We moved from the headland to the shallows, but not via the conventional way. Got stuck. Me and him trying to bail me through these reeds and everything. And moved on to a lot of fish then.
Yeah.
A lot of good fish. The bite, my arm never went off. I think it was my receiver, never picked it up. I've gone out to the rods in the morning and buried in the reeds.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't have been a big one, but every fish on there had a good run in with Danny Fairbrass that trip.
Did you?
Yeah. I said, hey, mate, all right. And he's been quite blunt.
What do you mean?
Like, shut me down and not really said anything.
What, nothing?
Not really, no. And I've gone back to my van for this water, and this bailiff's come flying up to the car park. He said, oh, it's you? I said, yeah. He said, oh, Danny's just rang me. He said there was some dodgy bloke walking around.
He's not far wrong, to be fair, Dan.
So he's gone and introduced me to Danny Fairbrass. I said, hello, mate, I'm Joe. He said, nice to meet you, Sean. I said, no, Joe. He said, yeah, good, Sean.
That's quality from him, mate.
I've said it about 4 times, so my name's Joe. And sound after that, bumped into him and bust me barra tyre.
Yeah.
On the way to Peg, and he's like, yeah, come on, I'll give you a hand with it. Danny Fairbrass saying, come on, I'll give you a hand. I said, no, it's all right. And then he's come and asked me if I want anything from the shop other times. And
he's called you Sean, though, right?
No, I don't know what he called me, to be honest. He might have had a new name by then, but what a sound guy. He obviously thought I was trying to do him that time.
Yeah, that's quality.
Yeah.
It was the place, though, Elstow, wasn't it? Well, Elstow 1, especially. It was ridiculous, mate.
Elstow 1 was the bigger draw because, I got a ticket for there in the end. Because I was on Elstow, I fished one overnighter. One overnighter on my way, because I was working away at the time. I thought I'll drop in, do the night, go to work. I had a 30.
I was going to say, there's loads of good fishing there.
I had a 30 on my one overnighter. But that was at a point in my life where I didn't have as much time. So that ticket, like a lot of tickets I've been over the years, it was a little bit wasted on me. But it was. But that was almost my Elstow chapter over. Got with Claire. I then became responsibilities. didn't do as much fishing, couldn't go to Elstow. Because I didn't have as much time, I probably found more excuses not to go than to go. And that's how that chapter ended.
You said there something pretty significant around deep water. Obviously, we talked about Elstow. We talked about some of the waters where you're from being deep in nature. You went on to fish somewhere that is, well, pretty famous for being deep, mate. Deep water fishing. For you, it does a lot of people's head. Even nowadays, I see it, because people just aren't used to fishing in that depth. If it's more than 15, 20 foot, it's like the abyss. And
anything more than sort of 12 foot's deep, isn't it, to some people?
You're out here in 4 foot, mate. So don't start giving us a bit of hassle. The old match boys. I'm not joking. But for you, that sort of deep water fishing, is it a case of pretty much it being sort of naturalised and normalised fishing in the depths?
Absolutely. I think I want to mention Danny Fairbrass here again. I think he said something once that the bottom's the bottom. Doesn't matter what water's above it. Bottom is the bottom. Obviously, there is, when you first fish somewhere like that, it is hard to get your head round, and it's the amount of time it takes to get your drop. But yeah, always go back to something I think Miles said, and it's if you can catch carp on Redsmere, you can catch carp anywhere. And I've taken that wherever I've gone.
That's that confidence, is it?
Yeah. I don't know why Redsmere is the one, but
it was on there.
Yeah. But yeah, carp, fish, swim.
What's the deepest you've had them out of? Because you've fished places home and abroad. You fished Bundy's, which is deep. How deep have you caught them from?
I've never cast a rig out on Bundy's. I've only cast a zig.
Have you?
Yeah.
So you didn't fish on deck?
No.
Okay. But you didn't. You definitely fished those home waters on the deck more than you didn't fish.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Morocco was quite deep when I fished there.
Ben Alyoun or whatever it's called.
Yeah, been with Dan. Yeah. I actually fished we'll get to the foreign stuff soon, but I fished a spot where it was 9 metres deep, and you go that way, 27 metres deep. It trebled,
Jesus.
And there was bubbles coming up in the deep bit. And I thought my boat's going to get sucked under. It was just weird.
Pretty nasty, mate. I don't.
It's just the bottom, isn't it? And yeah, so what's that? That's 27 foot. That's only the same as Elstow, but that was a 27 foot plateau. That's 27 foot in the shallow water.
You caught them out more than 30 foot. Have you caught them out of more than 30 foot?
Yeah, I'd have said so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty deep, mate. I've caught them. I think 28 foot is the deepest I've caught from on the deck.
Yeah.
I don't count adjustable zigs, but mate, that's some depth, mate.
Yeah.
Did you find getting used to where to bait and where to fish your rigs and accuracy and stuff, was that pretty easy?
We were always looking for the bottom of the shelf on Elstow. On that bank, on the headland and the snag, if you fish the snag out into open water, that was a bit trickier. The Terminator, you were looking for plateaus and stuff like that there. Never did so well off that area anyway, so...
Interesting, isn't it, mate? Deep water, it's just, again, there's not many venues that are that deep. It's such a sort of, I don't know, can be such a sort of a differentiation point between anglers. Some people take them on, some people think, oh, I don't fancy
A lot of the time you're looking for the shallower spots, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then some of the depth, you see them show over, just think, can't be feeding in that.
Whack a zig.
Well, it takes so long for them to get to the top. John Mack told me to fish zigs on Elstow. And he told me that a day. He told me that the day I had twisted scale. He said, chuck an adjustable zig out. He said, don't tell anybody. Nobody's on them. And I just thought, because of that wind, would your zig not sort of flatten? Just be a long tail with a tiny bit of foam on it. So I never got right at that bit.
You caught them anyway, mate.
Yeah.
We hinted there at sort of foreign chapters, foreign adventures, mate. Throughout this time in your carp fishing, you're obviously frequenting the people that are sort of, if you like, writing. They're the industry, if you like.
Yeah.
You're involved with Nash. You've got a relationship there. There is all that going on. You're growing in stature in terms of your name in carp fishing. For you, the sort of adventure side of stuff, the fact that angling had become sort of really synonymous with yourself and part of you started to stretch further afield, fish abroad, and also sort of populate the type of waters that we said before are really significant in terms of the trade at the time and things like that. Did you ever think that you would go into the trade in a work profession context without being a full-time angler? Or was it always a case of you doing what you needed to do to give yourself time to do the fishing that you wanted to do?
Alan had offered me a bit of a job in the warehouse,
Right.
which to me it was like I could go and do a job like that somewhere else without having to be down here away from everything. That I didn't see that as helping in any way either, because the other thing was I wasn't fishing in Essex.
No, of course not.
And Essex wasn't really any good to me as such. So yeah, I obviously never took that. It was just a passing comment because that's what Alan's like. I mean, the amount of people he gives jobs there. Unreal.
Here I am. Here I am, folks.
But yeah, I was still living the dream that year. I was young and carefree, living at home with my parents. If you couldn't afford to give your parents anything, they weren't exactly going to take telly off the wall or anything. It's not like the real world, is it?
No.
So yeah, I was just doing what I could, maybe do the odd job, because I was a qualified plumber. Do the odd job in between. Probably sold a little bit of the free bait that Nash were giving me at the time.
Well, he will invoice you for that, boy. Get him down.
Just for a bit of, I don't know if that was the year I was getting paid off Nash. I ended up getting paid a couple of years. It wasn't much.
Consultant, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, that was the absolute dream. If it was 10 or 15 times more, you'd have been sorted. But, yeah.
You did some writing as well. You did a fair bit of writing, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, them Sky Sports days, you get 250 quid for one of them.
Would you?
Yeah, so we went out on the Grand Union Canal, did a piece with Ollie for a magazine.
Right.
And a piece with Nigel Ballaway for Sky Sports. That was brilliant on the canal. Proper carp fishing on the canal.
Proper. This is the northerner in you, mate.
Not big fish, but...
Proper.
Bit of a weird place, that Grand Union Canal. There's some
It's a big old canal. Where
strange
were you?
people.
Strange people.
Oh, strange people walking around in the night.
Yeah.
One fella stopped to roll a fag in front of my bivvy. He didn't know I was there.
Did he not?
He stopped bang in front of me, brolly. I'm sat on the edge of the chair.
That might be a sign, though.
I'm like this far away from me. Hey, mate, you all right? Threw everything up in the air. And he just, all right, mate, and scuttled off. Oh, I wonder if he remembers it. But, doing loads of mag work. I was getting by, doing as much fishing as I could. And then bumped into, for some reason that year, I thought, because I had to raise my profile, fish a few of the carp matches. And there was a lad called Dan who worked at the factory, I forget what he called. We fished a couple of pairs matches. One at Barston, one at Kingsbury Water Park. I absolutely hated it. It couldn't have been further away from the fishing I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Bumped into a lad called Ryan Need.
Yeah.
And just got cracking, got really good mates with him. Rang me up one day, he said, there's a space on this rainbow trip. He said, George has dropped out. I'd already fished rainbow. We hadn't got to this. On my 17th birthday, I went to rainbow.
How'd you get there?
Well, Paul Hunt was doing the tours at the time.
Right, yeah.
Lad from up us, he's come round walking his dog one. He said, I've got a space on this trip to a lake in France. Interesting. He said, it's where the world record's just been. It was Rainbow Lake. As a kid, I'd watched Liam Dale on TV. I don't want to get the channel wrong because he actually pulled me for this. It was on terrestrial TV. He was fishing in France. It was called The Big Catch. I think it was. He'll correct us if it wasn't. And he did a different sort of fishing every week. And it was massive sturgeon fishing in Russia one week, halibut fishing somewhere else. And this week it was carp fishing in France. And it panned between Alan Taylor, Kevin Maddox at Shanty.
Wow.
And him at Rainbow. And Rainbow Lake is...
It's got to be on YouTube somewhere, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. There's bits of it because there's a cracking bit of Alan Taylor, who's sadly now passed away. He fell over in the mud when he's running out to this run and he couldn't get up. And we'll go to Alan Taylor shortly. But, yeah, I said, I'll go on that trip. This is when I was 17.
That's mad.
So he had to get a form signed by my mum and dad so he could take me.
Yeah.
Obviously, my mum and dad had to fund 17. And we went to Rainbow. Talk about being unprepared.
I can only imagine, mate.
Paul Hunt ran these tours. He wasn't that fussed about you once he got you there.
Yeah, you're done, ain't you?
Yeah. He'd come and give you food every day and sell you any Richwood bait you wanted. But it wasn't full. And boat fishing, never really... No, I hadn't fished out of a boat. Snag fishing. You were having to take your lines in between islands, down channels, bending them round bank sticks. it couldn't have been further from anything you'd ever do anywhere else.
Just a 17-year-old boy from Cumbria.
Anyway, I've had one fish. I've had one and lost two. It was about £10 if I was being lucky. But there was no fish in the area we were in either,
Mate,
so that didn't help.
Absolute touch, mate.
Oh, it's proper little cricket bat comment. The lad I was with had his first bite on the last night of the trip. He's had a 20. And from that, you could sort of say, right, thanks for that. I'll just put that chapter to bed. When Ryan Need rang me and said, do you want to come to him? Like, what gear do I need? When are we going? Talk me through this. Because he'd been a few times, caught a few big fish, and in passing, he told me before, we do this, we do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, right, you need an outboard, you need 2 batteries, you need this, that, and the other. And it's like, right, get it. And we went. Fish peg 1, peg 2. I think I had 20 fish.
Wow.
But I was on the sort of nursery side of the peg. I was going out and battling a lot of little fish. It took a few days to get used to the style of fishing. Must have lost a few fish. I had two 47-pounders.
That'll do.
Yeah. He's had like 4 or 5 fish all week. He's had one just shy of £70.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, that was my first taste of foreign fishing. Don't know if that was the trip we got done for speeding on. Got pulled in France. They were like, right, we want this much and we want it now.
Oh, what, the coppers?
Yeah, and you're not going until we've had it.
You should pay them up, get gone.
Only had just enough money. So anyway, they've took Ryan's driving licence off him.
Oh.
Right, you're banned from driving in France for a year. He drives home. Ryan went, I can't, it's not insured on the van. But what have you said that for? They're not going to let us go here. And he just went, he drives. And luckily...
Get in, drive,
yeah,
mate.
just drove.
Get
Didn't
in,
stop.
Get out of here.
Got to Burger King with just about enough to buy Burger King and got home. I just thought, right, they're going to let us get so far down the road and they're going to do me for no insurance. But yeah, that was, well, I don't know whether that was the first or the second, but then he's like, got a trip in March as well. Do you want to come on that? So that's like 2 rainbow trips in the space of 8 months. Alan was on that trip.
Was he?
Yeah, he went out with Colin Richards, fished the island. I don't know if Alan had anything, but like in true Alan style, he was on the end of the jetty at first light fishing for rudd. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
sounds right, don't know, I was going to say.
Yeah, I don't know if he caught any carp. I don't know if he had one in it. Yeah, I had a few 40s that trip. Nothing big for rainbow.
Still, mate, the place, the fishing,
Yeah.
to get bites and be there.
Rod Hutchinson was on that trip as well.
No.
Yeah, I went and had a crack with Rod.
What was Rod like?
Off his tit.
Was he?
I've gone down to the peg and his mate Mally's there.
Right.
His mate Mally's washing the plates in like a bucket of particles.
Legend.
Probably had 2 bottles of brandy apiece. And Rod's in his doorway cooking on this like Argos stove, like a flat stove. And Mally's gone, oh, Rod, this lad said they're catching in such and such. And don't matter to us, Mally, we can't get them pegs. We'll never see. Because he used to go to Rainbow on any booking he could get, any time of year, any peg. Because you booked your peg.
Yeah.
He never got anywhere near any Woodlands. I think he might have had 1 fish that week. But he just loved it.
Yeah.
And always put his life jacket on.
Did
Absolutely, yeah. Always put his life jacket on. Wouldn't have been in a fit to swim, would he?
Oh, he's a legend,
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah.
What, it would have been wicked just to see him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What do you say to him? Hello, Rod.
Just had a crack with him, just
He
normal
wouldn't
guy.
have understood a word. He's northern. He might have understood a word you were saying.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, to be that age and do that amount of fishing. I mean, we mentioned Alan Taylor.
Yeah.
Met Alan Taylor on the first rainbow trip with Ryan. Got on so well with Alan. What a great guy he was. Yeah, big Liverpool fan as well.
We won't hold that against him, but...
But yeah, what a guy he was. And he just buzzed off the fact that I remembered him from that
okay.
thing. And he just lived for his fishing and got friendly with him. He'd actually said that trip. He said, oh, my lad's on about coming out to stay with me next week because he was staying on a week long, but I've not got anywhere for him to sleep. So I rang Reedy. I said, can I leave my bed chair here? And you just send me a new bed chair. Reedy would do anything.
Yeah.
He's just sent me a new bed. So there's a bed chair at my house before I get back, and I just said, "Yeah, I'll have this." And yeah, we got on really well. He used to ring me up. Just randomly, I'd be walking through the park with the kids, and Alan Taylor would ring.
Oh, yeah, that's wicked, isn't it?
It's like that's that guy off the telly from when I was 10.
That is wicked, isn't it?
Yeah, what a lovely guy Alan was.
I think that's the angling community in general, isn't it?
Yeah, 99.9% of them, yeah. But he lived for Rainbow in his later days. Because he was at a point of his life where he could just go like that. If somebody rang him up on the Thursday and said there's a booking tomorrow, there's somebody not... He even said to Pascal, if somebody doesn't turn up on the Saturday for that week, because your week started on the Saturday morning, he said, ring me, I'll be there on the Sunday. Whenever. That's how much he loved the place.
So a lot of people say it, don't they? Once you go to Rainbow, they say it about Rainbow, they say it about Cassian. Cassian, they say this, I've spoke to Briggsy endlessly about it. There's an atmosphere, there's something there which really captivates you in terms of that place, that setting. It's more than just the fish that are present in the lake. The same for Rainbow. I don't know if it was Ollie or somebody who said you get that. It might have even been Reedy actually on his last trip. He was
Reedy's been a few times.
Come home and it's just you're numb to fishing in this country. Do you know what I mean? Like that Rainbow buzz is a thing.
You can get that from a lot of stuff, can't you? I mean, in my recent fishing. So you want to touch on later, I fished the World Championships 3 weeks ago. It's hard work to get motivated to go fishing again because nothing else really matters. But yeah, I was almost glad that I never caught a massive fish from Rainbow because I've always got that to go back to.
Okay.
I wound. Ryan was at the shower or whatever, I wound a 50-pounder in on his rods, tipped it back. Because it was on his rods. I've never had a 50-pounder.
Did you know that you did that?
Yeah.
He's a big lad now.
And yeah, it's one of them. I've never had a 50-pounder, and I've played that. Playing them's the hardest bit on there sometimes.
I bet.
I've had to tip it. I mean, some people go there and they put 8 rods out, and between 2 of them, just take it in turns to wind a bait in.
Rotate, don't they?
I don't think I could do that.
No, I always think, I couldn't do that, I don't think. You don't want it on somebody else's rig that they've put out.
Did the same in Turkey when I went there.
What was that like? Because that's a place we don't really hear about in terms of the fishing.
Mental. Dave Lee, big West Cumbrian, he just messaged me one day, said, do you fancy go to Turkey? And I'd seen his pictures. I think he'd had a 50 out of there.
Wow.
It was like, right, when? What do I need? When do we go? And
I think I've seen that picture. Is it like a real scaly, almost like a Gran Canaria type?
There is a mirror in there that's quite big.
That's the one that I've seen.
Yeah. I got to the stage of my carp fishing life then, and I was working for myself. I couldn't commit to sessions and focusing on somewhere.
Yeah.
And these little foreign trips, set off on a Saturday, be back on the Friday, and you know, that's if you do 4 or 5 of them a year, that's as much fishing, more fishing than I could have done in the UK. Fishing these wild waters for these massive fish. But yeah, Dave and Matt had been a few times. You go out on this like booze cruise type boat, anchor up, put rod pods on the back of the boat or the top of the boat, whatever, and go off in little Zodiacs to drop your rigs. I paired up for that trip with a fella we know as Crete Lakes Mick, because he was a bailiff at Crete Lakes.
Okay.
He's had a 40, first day.
Jeez. Do you know, you don't really know the stock, do you?
No, not at all. Not at all. Nobody had ever known the stock, because hardly anybody fishes it.
Yeah, it's a big old sheet, isn't it?
Yeah. So he said, right, I've had a fish. You fish that side of the peg, or that side of the expanse. So I've fished that side. He's had one that side.
Classic.
Middle of the night, this speedboat comes through, wipes all our rods out.
Oh, mate.
We got blown off the lake one night. But the other pair, Matt and Dave, they're around the corner, they're catching a lot of fish. Well, not a lot of fish. Yeah. I think Matt had a 50 that day. Got blown off the lake. Crete Lakes Mick had to get a plane earlier than us, so I've had to tie in with them. We've gone back out on the lake the next morning. It was still blowing a hoolie, but I hadn't had a fish. We were going the next day.
Oh. So
they said, right, we're going to get you a fish today. Just waiting for the wind to drop to get out there. I'm like, dropping. It wasn't. And Dave said, I'll have to go out, because he was experienced in the boat.
Right.
He said, I'll go out in this boat, drop your rig, you hold your rod, tell me where you want, blah, blah. Gone out, and 6.5 foot, massive, see him bobbing in these waves. Lord. They must have been massive. And he's dropped these 2 rods. Backleaded them, because you had to backlead, because there could be boats come through. This boat's come hurtling around the corner. Dave stood on top of this boat, waving his hand, because they've just hurtled around the corner. Yeah. Massive lake, and they didn't know we were there. So they've stopped, got out. His rod's rattled off.
What, in all that?
Just after that, I've had a 37-pounder at this wild expanse of water. But for me, that wasn't fantastic, because Dave had dropped the rig.
Right.
Had the pictures took, put it back, and the wind just dropped, just like a sheet of glass. And we'd had problems all week between the 2 boats of getting people towing through the lines in the night. You had this little bailiff go in the dark, in a boat, just...
Straight through your lines?
No, just ticking over on his engine. He'd have a grappling hook on the back, try to find nets, like poachers.
What a nightmare.
And we called it the putt-putt boat. Ticking over it, just go put. So we anchored up in the middle of this bay, and lights on it, so they could see us. And we fished rods out. And on the last morning of the trip, one of my rods, because they wanted to rotate rods still.
You want to do
we'll do it, but I don't want one of my rods that I dropped went off, and it was £41, £42. Absolutely, it's common. And it was weird. As soon as we put it back, wind got up, and it just wanted us off the lake. It was mental. That's what the locals say: when the lake wants you off, the lake wants you off. And we struggled getting into the harbour because the waves were that big, and that was it. Back up, have a bit of dinner, and go to the airport.
Jeez. But that's some adventure, mate. People, that's well off the beaten track in terms of foreign venues. There's a couple of other chapters. Obviously, you've referenced Morocco, which is, I suppose, more on the track now, but similar in terms of an expanse of water that is not really known in terms of stock still. There's a few big ones that are known, but there's still, possibilities are endless in that place. It's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another one of them venues. I've done 2 trips to Morocco, both in January. Absolutely love going out there in January because it's freezing here.
Yeah.
Just sit in shorts and T-shirt there. The first trip, there's only other 2 anglers on the lake. I picked where I wanted to go. I had a fair few bites. Just couldn't get... I had a mirror, about £20.
That's a result, isn't it?
Yeah, a mirror out there is awesome. And then I've had just a run of small fish. Change something. On the last night, I've had a £33 common.
What you
last morning, fished a lot shorter.
Right.
And I put a lot less bait out. I was trying to avoid catching fish, so to speak, which sounds daft, but I just think playing the numbers game
don't work.
No, because I had 2 nights with massive upbaits on as well. They just didn't get picked up by anything. So
it's interesting. Like I spoke a lot to Samir. Same sort of. He fishes a lot of the same type of venues, and he fishes over a tiny patch of bait a lot of the time. Yeah. He ain't whacking loads in because he don't want to attract all the little ones to the party.
No, because they're the most ravenous, and that's going back to Elstow.
Yeah,
playing the numbers game. It's a long game, and you haven't got a lot of time on these trips.
What about bait wise? Boilie? I mean, were they used to boilie, or did you go in with anything else? Especially turkey. Like, I don't know how much bait they'd seen those fish.
Oh, turkey's maize.
Is it all maize?
They use a lot of maize. Yeah, there's a lot of turtles and stuff like that, and I think the tiny catfish and boilers and pellets
smashed.
Yeah, so it's a lot of maize. So that's cutting the attraction down. But playing the waiting game. Morocco, I took a lot of boilies. Got my cases scanned on the airport.
How did that go?
Thought they're going to take it off. They just couldn't understand why I needed that much. You know what I mean? And they were all right. But
you have to give them the old talk, sit down and say, look.
Show them Cat World. Tried telling them what I was going to do with it and what have you.
Right, the plan is, I'm going to put 50k out, sit on it.
I think we used a bit of maize out there, a bit of particle, but mainly boilies.
Yeah. Good old boily fishing, mate, on a big old sheet. That's some incredible.
But I mean, that on these foreign trips, always a run-in with something, or you know what I mean? So, when you book one of these trips, you get your taxi to and from the airport. I've gone to the hotel on the last day. Hamid, hotel owner, it's all run through the hotel.
Yeah.
Because you're his customer. You are so well looked after. He thinks the world of you. He said to me, what time have you got to be at the airport? So I've told him. Gone to this guy over there. He said, what time have you got to be at your airport? And it's his mate who's come up for the week. And he said, take him, couldn't you? So his missus is pregnant. She's sat in the front with a seat right back. This car's tiny. I'm in the back with one of my suitcases next to me and one in the boot. And Morocco, mate, you just want to get to that airport. No stops. Stop for fuel.
You need fuel.
Stopped in the middle of this town. Coffee.
Oh, no.
So I've got out in my shorts and T-shirt. Everybody just turn around. They're all in full robes, blankets, everything, because it's January.
Look at this, lad.
So, can we go?
It's like, where's Wally, innit?
Get to the airport, and then we've got back in the car, driving for miles and miles and miles. What time's your flight? So I've told him, we could go and see the waterfalls if you want. I'm too polite to say no. So he took me to the waterfalls. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Not what I was there for, so I wasn't too fussed. So we sat at this cafe at the waterfall. Everybody's looking. Beggars on every corner. Just so sketchy, because in Morocco, breaks your heart, but divide between the rich and the poor is bigger than I've ever seen anywhere else.
There is no middle class either, is there?
Nothing whatsoever. Got these K-rendered buildings, it's like shiny K-rendered. It's phenomenal. Gated, everything, and then next to it's a mud hut. No water, no electricity.
Yeah, it's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got back in the car and it's like, right, let's get to the airport. Next stop, gone to an olive oil factory.
Oh, classic.
He's wanting this bucket of olive oil, like a drum of olive oil, but he's got to taste it first. So he's giving me this bread. He said, you taste it. And so he said, no, you're tasting the oil, not the bread. He's dunking this, and he's just dripping in oil. And it's like, can we go?
You're a goner, mate.
He's got me at the airport. And it's still got plenty of time because we set off in plenty of time. His missus is giving me oranges, all sorts.
Well, you sound decent.
And I got to the airport and it's like, thank God for that. It's always...
I like that, mate. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. Because as daft as it sounds, the fishing is only a small part of those sort of trips. And that's why I came to love them so much, because you're seeing so much of the world. It's a holiday, it's a fishing trip.
Now, I mentioned it before, another significant place in terms of carp fishing, especially even in modern times, it's Cassian, mate. You've been there, you've fished it, and caught one, which is the holy grail. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, Cassian. It's a place that nobody, especially my era, could have grown up without hearing about, reading about. See, a lot of what I knew about it came from Briggsy.
Yeah.
Must say Briggsy and John, because they're a duo. You can't have one without the other. Got to know them a little bit through Nash. Still keep in touch with Joan, because she's lovely. Knew a lot about Cassian through them. A lot of the rainbow anglers that I'd bumped into had fished Cassian.
Of course.
It was in carp talk every single week on the foreign adventures. I just mentioned it to Claire a few times, and it was before Morocco, so we're backtracking a little bit here. She'd gone out of her way to book a trip for me and the eldest to go to Cassian for the week. She'd done it through this Cassian Carp Tours on Facebook.
Yeah.
And she booked this. So I've spoke to Dave Lee, who was the Turkey fella fishing. He'd done loads.
Everywhere here.
No, he'd done loads on Cassian in the 90s.
Okay.
He used to go out with Paul Roberts, 90s and 2000s. Cassian was different. He used to crawl up. So he's telling me this, that and the other. I'm saying, sure, it's a bit harder now, Dave. He hadn't been since it was day fishing only.
Okay, the change, yeah, all right.
Yeah, a lot less people fishing now because it's day fishing only. when it was 24/7 fishing, swims getting stitched up for ages. Now there's a little bit more access to it. So anyway, I've gone to Cassian with my eldest, met this fella called Matt Woods, who ran this Cassian carp tours. He's turned up in the shittest van you've ever seen. It's got a crack the full length of the windscreen. Don't think it had seatbelts. We've come out of the airport. I've rang him because he's not there. He's not where he said he was going to be.
Right.
Oh, I can't get my van under the barrier. You're going to have to walk out. Could have got his van under the barrier. He had to pay to get through.
These are great signs early doors.
And it was a bit of a drip. There was no cracking. He said, have you got your licence that you need for... No, I haven't got my licence. That's why we booked through you. Oh, don't think there'll be anywhere open on a Sunday to get one from. Could try Decathlon. Thinking you're the expert. You're the one who's bringing me here.
What have I paid you for?
Yeah. This is a disaster. And it's not just me. Yeah, I've got my eldest lad with me who was 10, 11, 12 at the time. And it's like...
mate, that's dreadful.
Yeah. Dave Lee had said he'd had a bad experience here before with this fella. And yeah, we got the licence on the morning. He said, I don't think you've got enough bait with you. Well, everybody I've spoke to. So he's wanted to sell me this bait, and it's like 28 mil. And stop it. 28 mil banana things that he's had rocking about in his shed for 6 years. That he's thought, I'll get rid of them on this. Like, they weren't even round. They were just big balls of boiled paste.
So Cumbrian boy will have them.
I've sort of humoured him and thought, yeah, I'll have a few of them, mate. They've probably gone in the bushes. And I've got my bait that I've brought that few people have said, set this bait. Gone on second point, and he's wanted to roll my rods out for me, and it's getting back to what we've said. I want you to pick me up from the airport, give me somewhere to sleep, give me rods, I've got my own reels. Don't want you to fish for me, and I do not want to wind fish in that somebody, so I've done my own thing. Sat there on Cassian, fish start showing over where I'm fishing. Liners, beep, 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 beep. Comes to dark, winding, hook baits on.
You didn't put the banana perils out, did you?
No, I didn't. But no hook baits. So I said to him, I mentioned it to him. He said, "Oh yeah, these bits of crays and little poisson chats." All right, tell me now then. I've got 4 days fishing. I've wasted a day on fish. And now you're telling me, he said, "Oh, I've got some mesh." I mean, it's a little bit naive that I didn't take it, but it's not something you do over here. So, second day, gone back on the same peg. I've had a bite. Snagged me. Just pulled in a straight hook. Next day, I didn't want to fish that same peg again. I did. I'd fish on it first day, showing. Lost one second day, and just me being me, I thought, I'm not coming to somewhere like this and sitting on the same peg for my whole trip. So I've gone exploring, ran up my own arse, just fished somewhere that we never catch unless you put a bit of bait in and what have you. Last day, I've took Dave's advice. I've gone and fished a spot at the bottom of the ramp where he told me that back in the day when a lot of people used to do the long trips, if they couldn't get in a peg, they'd just drop on that on the ramp.
Okay.
Throw a load of bait in and then move the next day. He said, so it used to see loads of bait and not that much fishing hours. I've had a skimmer.
Go on, the boy.
And that was it. But I'd actually felt like I was fishing. You know what I mean? I'd felt like I was doing my own thing.
Right.
So anyway, I got back to England, said bye to Martin, thanks. Thanks for everything. And got back to England. About a month later, he sold the business. Right. Or what's left of the business. To what was his partner, the business, David Hyam.
Right.
I've just followed Facebook. Him and his mate have gone on there for the next 2 weeks. Absolutely emptied the spot. Fish after fish after fish. I thought, right, he sounds like the sort of fella I should be going out there with. Booked again to go that same week. I think I was going like the first week of September. Because in the heating trade, after that, it's a bit risky going somewhere because it gets that busy.
Yeah.
Now, just go whenever I want. Then I just didn't go. So I've gone out there. Dave's picked me up. What a cracking guy. Loads of cracking him. It's different breed. I thought, I want to fish that spot where I fished last time and I felt close, and Dave said this, and Dave, my mate Dave had said a lot of people used to fish it. In my wisdom, I've thought on there, you want really long leg core leaders to get everything sunk. Had a bite, picked up, ping,
Gone.
just cut through my braid.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't got it up. Oh, that was a bit unlucky, wasn't it? Done the same again.
Yeah.
Bing! Lost 3 fish that day at cut-offs. The last one, just picked it up like that, got in the boat, got over it, ping.
That is horrific, mate. So the first 4 fish you've hooked on Cassian.
Yeah. Didn't learn from it either, did I? That day, I've just kept doing the same thing. But that day as well, it drove me mad. It was like a beach down there. There was just women and kids, sunbathing everywhere. So I've got myself somewhere else the next day. Don't know if I went on second point in the North Arm again. Never caught it. Day after, I've plotted up somewhere. Never caught anything. Then Dave said to me, he said, right, there's a spot up the West Arm. He said, it's going to be good for a bite. He said, you need a fit. Because he said to me at this point, he said, what time are you going home Friday? We might have to get you out fishing Friday morning just to buy you a bit more time. Because it's days only fishing. You're getting up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah, it's a grind, isn't it?
Taking the boat down there, boat into your spots. And by the time you've got there, because it's day only fishing, you're not going to get a bite normally till the last hour. So yeah, it was a grind. Dave Ball was over there at the time. I don't know if you know Dave Ball of like Yateley fame.
Yeah.
But he was living out there at the time. I think he was a cracking lad. Another one I used to read about you in the magazines.
Did you go up and punish him? While he's on Cassian.
He loved it. No, this was at night because he was staying on Dave's site. I don't even think he fished in the days when I was there. He was just chilling because he was living out there. Oh, he was got to Carsairs.
Oh, maybe,
yeah. Because that isn't too far away. Anyway, Dave's put me onto this spot. And it's so different from anywhere else I've fished on. It's just got this lovely gradient coming off the bank. It's just so smooth. Put a bit of bait in. I've then, about midday, I've had a little Karassi or a Prussian carp or whatever they call them over there. It had a real big fantail and it's like that in the Cassian carp. And I'm going to have to do better than this. And I've got this rod. Because you've got 4 rods on there, and on there a lot of the time, you'll only ever put 2 on a spot.
Mm.
If you can't find another spot, your 4th rod's just sticking
Throw
out
away,
for the
innit?
sake of it.
Yeah.
And I've rode it over this massive rock face. Down this arm has come this predator fishing boat. Them boats are immense. They've got the swivelling seats, they've got all the rods stacked up. He's obviously towed a lure through my line. Beep, 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 beep. So I've picked it up to wind and it's snagged. I've wound my way over to this rock face. I got it out of the snag. Said, beep. I thought, where's he at now? And I've turned around and I can't see him.
Oh.
So my rods are in position and I've just got this absolute ripper. And it's just going, and I'm trying to get there as quickly as I could. Pick the rod up, it's still on, it's still chugging. Got over it in the boat. Spun the boat around a little bit as it's fighting. I've gone to get my net like that. Couldn't get my net. Stuck around the propeller of the outboard.
Oh, you're joking,
So
mate.
I'm fighting this fish and it's pretty much ready for the net. Try to get my net on. Let out the biggest cry of joy ever when I got that in the net. And after that, nothing else mattered.
Yeah, it's done.
That's your first one. First Cassian fish. I've rang Dave. He said, right, well, you better get some photos of it, haven't you? I'm thinking, come down, Dave, really? How would it got to me, I don't know, because I've got the boat. So I've done some self-takes, and they're pretty sick, these pictures. And it's just like
How big is it?
£35 common.
Mate.
Not an ounce of fat on it. This big, long, wild-looking thing. And after that, it didn't really matter. And I'm thinking, I've got time for another one here. I never had another one.
Mate, but that's all you need, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it started chucking it down, and I think I wound in a bit early and got back to the slipway. And that was it. nice chilled night with Dave and Dave, and then back on the plane tomorrow.
But it's those stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on Cassian. I've gone out for me lure anglers, disturbed my line, and then
We
it's
wouldn't be
just-
doing this if it was easy. You know, if it was just caught this, caught that. If it's like Ricky Hatton or Michael Owen scoring goals and knocking people out, nobody'd watch
Bang
this.
it out the wrong way around.
I did, didn't I?
You sort of did. But it's all right, I saved you, mate. We said there, you referenced Briggsy, you referenced Joan and the whole Nash sort of family, which is what it's like working in it even now. But when you were there, it was sort of Al's relatively formative years. You've obviously got Kev at the helm, everything. Those Nash years, you referenced Reedy as well. Those Nash years and that sort of family vibe, how were those years, mate, to you?
Absolutely mega. I think I was quite a well-respected part of the team. It's good. Good having them to look up to, ring up. I rang Reedy more times than you'll ever imagine. He reckons he had my number written on the wall, and it was like, don't answer. I don't know whether he's just saying that.
Isn't he, Reedy?
Yeah. Shows in the winter were mega. I used to get absolutely smashed because it was like free food and drink, and it always used to be like, we can't have that. Sarah will kick off. Can't have it. And then when Alan was there, because he was a director, it was like, oh, Sarah won't kick off at me, and we just used to do whatever we wanted. And I got some stairs. I remember we stayed at Al's house once, me and Joe, but never seen Al there because I don't think anybody sees Al in Al's house. And I always remember I was in this bar called the Pink Toothbrush. Don't know where it was. Yeah, they didn't serve beer or anything. They just served cans of Red Stripe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice gap. And Jobel left.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going back to Al's house. He's rang me about 3 hours later. He's in this taxi looking for Al's house.
Oh, no.
So he had to come and pick me up there. No, I've been in a taxi for a long time, like. It's the taxi drivers as fed up as I am now.
Well, you know Essex taxi drivers got a hope in hell with you two in the car asking for directions.
But yeah, some of them trade shows were awesome. Basie had always been the last man. I don't know about standing, but he was always in the hotel reception.
Oh, he's a legend, mate.
Everybody'd order food from the hotel reception. And then it'd take that long to go to bed. Basie just eat it all when he come. Yeah.
Honestly, Basie is survivor, man, isn't he? He's out and out. Absolutely. He'd be like SAS, man. He's proper.
Yeah, they were mega days. It was in an era where there was a lot of sponsors. I don't know if there is now, but there was a massive group of us, and well, these trade shows were a bit of a free for all. Good social event. Yeah, I used to get in some scrapes upsetting people.
Did you upset people?
Oh, Alan had a right headache with me.
Why?
Just things I
upsetting people.
Yeah, but I had a drink. I don't really drink.
Animal,
Well, I don't drink. So.
The old little Cumbrian boys come to the big smoke and got a bit tipsy.
Yeah, but it was just like you were going out drinking with some of your heroes.
Yeah.
Well, like, sat there in the hotel bar and there's Nick Hellier.
Yeah.
And you didn't see him often at trade shows. So, Dean Macy there, Darryl Peck, loads of it was just...
Did you have like a real sort of idol in terms of your angling? I know obviously there's the whole Keith Arthur sort of thing where you've seen a lot of very significant anglers quite early, but was there one angler in particular as you went through your carping which you sort of put in a higher regard?
Never say idols, but obviously Terry Hearn. And Jim Shelley at points was...
I was going to say, was he on the consultant team when you were there? He must have been.
No, he left
Just
left? Before. Yeah, I think it was him, Dave Levy, Dave Magg, one other left that year.
Right.
So I never got to work with any of them. Yeah, I mean, Jim Shelley's upset more people than anyone, but he's caught more fish than most, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And whatever way he went about it.
Meet Tell? Did you meet Tell?
Yeah, a few shows. Yeah. Just a quiet, unassuming guy, isn't he?
Just on it from what?
Yeah. John Mack held him in quite high regard. Even Classic.
Yeah.
Because Classic, when he did a lot of his fishing, was living here in Blackpool.
Yeah.
And travelling down there. Loads. Too many to mention, but Kev Wilson, big fan of his.
Yeah.
Because the year or two that he just ripped everywhere to bits, just caught everything. He battered Christchurch, Stoneacres. I mean, Stoneacres was over a little bit of a longer period. Then he just went and caught the mother, fat lady. I think, did Yateley finish him off?
Yeah, I think so. But
He doesn't even fish anymore.
No. Well,
he had all them Charnwood big uns.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That was at a time when I was really sort of getting in fishing and travelling and targeting bigger fish. He had the brute.
He did have the brute.
Just went and caught everything.
He went savage for like a spell, didn't he?
Yeah.
We were on foreign chapters, mate. One place that Nash, and we're talking about Team Nash and significant others, we sort of been to, we did a social there, but it's been part of sort of Nash culture since Al did the old Riders of the Storm thing and all that. He's bled, but you've been out there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that was a place I was always going to go to.
Why? Because of that iconic church view and everything?
I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think I only knew about it because of the Nash video.
Yeah, because of Eurobanks.
Yeah, and then Classic. Well, Eurobanks was a significant part of me wanting to go and fish in Belgium as well.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it's got a lot to answer for. I wanted to go and fish that part lake in Leon, but I never got around on. But yeah, Classic was out there. I think he went for a trip, ended up moving out there.
That's right.
Doing a bit of a guiding service. And it was like, right, come on, Jamie, I'm coming out with you. Got on this rickety little plane. Because a lot of these places that I've been to, they're not mainstream holiday destinations.
No.
A lot of the places you can't get direct flights, so you're having to change flights. When we went to Bergerac to fish the River Loch, you come off the plane, suitcases were in a room smaller than this, there's no carousel or anything. But yeah, bled, went and fished it with Jamie. Loved the culture out there. What a fantastic country that is. Got a bit lucky, really. We fished at the start of September. I think the start of September, I'm going to have to get this right. I don't know if you're allowed to fish that half of the lake before the start of September. I think we turned up and that half of the lake that was assumed to be rammed with anglers, nobody there. Fish showing everywhere. And we were going to start fishing on the Sunday. Let's get back to the digs, get the gear, fish today. Yeah. I had a 47 pounder the first afternoon. Absolutely smashed the bait in. Loads of boilie. Rattled off. But I kept catching them last hour in the dark. It was like, I want one in front of that church. And on the last morning of the trip, I had one of my smaller fish, about 33 pound, but I got it in the back of the church. But what a place that is. People from all over the world fishing it. Definitely think it's attracted more because of the publicity that's come from that.
Yeah, obviously. Also, but it's deep, isn't it? It's a similar sort of
Just
story,
about to say that, yeah. It's so deep. But the bottom's the bottom and you're putting that much bait out on that going down feed. Yeah, every time that rod went, 10, 15 minute battle to try and get it in because the water's so clear. I know it's dark. Water's so clear. Very, very well policed place. Bailiffs. We were sleeping on the bank.
Yeah.
But putting our gear to the side of the fence and searching just to make sure you hadn't left anything out. I had my head up and said, no, sleep. You know, I'm just don't mind me. And as long as you weren't doing anything wrong,
they're all right.
You're all right, yeah. Jamie was saying they sit in car parks, dotted around with the windows down, listening to whether you're casting out or not. Every morning I was thinking, can I go in here? Can I go in?
They ain't sitting in car parks listening for rods, are they, mate?
I don't know what else they'd be doing. What a fantastic country, though. Not a bit of litter. Very well kept. Yeah. On the final day of the trip, the Slovenia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Slovenian national football team were running around.
What, just a lap? All right, lads?
Yeah, just a training camp. But it's an absolute national treasure.
Yeah.
I was working in someone's house the other day and the TV was on the screensaver mode and it's church on that island. I forget what, is it LG? It's their screensaver.
No idea.
And I just said, fish there.
Do you want to see my picture of the church? I've got a big car. You all right, mate?
That's things that non-anglers wouldn't understand.
That's what I mean.
But it's a place I'd have never been to if it wasn't for carp fishing.
Yeah.
The adventures.
Am I right in thinking, and you can correct me on this, that the final carp you caught before the sort of match fishing came in and everything went on, which we'll talk about, was a place in Belgium that I believe I've caught a fair few carp from as well.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
What happened there?
Another long story. The Monkey Climber Syndicate was quite synonymous in like cool scenario. Everybody thought they were cool if they fished Belgium and Monkey Climber Syndicate, that sort of thing. There was a charity auction for 48 hours on there. And I thought, I'm having that. Don't care how much it is.
Cool, isn't it?
I thought, I'm having that session on there. And I waited till the end, and the bids weren't too high, and I just put 400 quid in. Nobody outbid me. So I've got 48-hour session on Monkey Climber Syndicate in Belgium. Get yourself there, you know. It was just the fishing that came with it. When am I going to get there? Liverpool were playing Hoffenheim in Germany. Me and Claire had just got married. We hadn't had a honeymoon, but
that was your honeymoon.
So I said to her, why don't you come to Hoffenheim? We'll drive, and we'll go fishing on the way back.
Oi, Claire, I'm sorry for this. How is she still with you after that? That is a tough sell.
Yeah, so they're the two things that she really gets so that I spend that much time on football and fishing. So we've driven through the night to Hoffenheim. I've got on it.
Oh, so she's doing the driving?
No. This is when we were there. I've thrown up everywhere. Missed half the game. Gone back to the hotel. We saw Trent score an absolute worldie of a free kick. We beat Hoffenheim. Got back to the hotel, and then it's like, right, up in the morning, off we go fishing. Gone to the Monkey Climber Syndicate in Belgium. So weedy at the time.
Was it?
It's not been that weedy since when I've been. Didn't catch anything first night. Didn't really have a lot to go on. Second night, just had this absolute ripper. And it's one of the hardest fighting carp I've ever got. Since speaking at Geo, he said, yeah, that one does pull it. Had this 28-pound common, and that's like my first Belgian carp.
Nice.
Spoke to Geo at length, probably punished the life out of him. Got myself a ticket on the syndicate. So I've gone from getting tickets in Norfolk and Elstow, where it's quite a long way for me, to getting one in another country.
To be fair, it's only an hour and a half the other side of the old... Oh, the train...
It's 6 hours here. Yeah. So, plan was hatched to do another trip. I've been speaking to this Belgian guy, and he's put me in touch with this canal. I said, I really want to fish canal, because don't know, but I think on the way back from that trip, we went and had a look at the Eurobanks Canal.
Right.
Which I think's been fished to death since then, hasn't it? And it wasn't that appealing to me. He's put me in touch with this canal in Ostend. So I've banged this in my phone, Ostend. Pulled up, first light in the middle of Ostend. It's this canal that's going under buildings, under cobbled streets. That in canal fish. Just had to sort of drive aimlessly round Ostend. I've took the missus and kids. Claire's...
You've taken them?
Yeah.
In a hotel or something?
No, this is setting off there.
Oh, this is dreadful, mate.
This is like part of the initial leg of getting. Found this bit of canal. But right, this must be it. Too early to message anybody or ring anybody. I've seen a bivvy.
Oh,
right, this has to be the bit. So I've got out to go for a walk, parked up, and Bobby, the youngest, he'll be about 5. He's got a little bit grouchy. So I've picked him up. I've picked him up, carried him down the canal, walking down the canal. Settled down. This fish is boshed out in the middle of the canal. The canal's not even that wide. It'll only be 20, 25 metres wide. Fish is just boshed out. Right, we found one. So I've sat there, and one swims past. Right, I found him now. It's fish. Found the fish. Fish for him. Couldn't fish, could I? Because I didn't have a licence. Had to go to the post office to get like your rod licence. This is still like 5:30 in the morning, so I'm just biding time. They've been in and out of sleep all night. Grouchy. Anyway, got there, set up on these fish. I've had to message this guy. I said, how far away from this bivvy can I set up? He said, you've got to go so many trees. Because there's these tall trees, lined with tall trees. So I've set up where I thought. Flicked a rod down the edge, a rod middle. And I seen 2 fish come in. this is a little bit late. I've seen 2 fish come in, but they're heading for where I've just put that handful of 2 boilies and boilie crumb. Took off, fighting this fish, just coming over the net. Bobby's shouting, "Dad, it's got no tail, it's got no tail." So I've got this massive mirror in the net. It's just got this tiny little weathered tail, like a dustbin out of the car park lake. So I've messaged Gio, he knew I was there. I said, "I've got one, it's only got half a tail." He said, "I know what fish that is, and I've never caught it." Brilliant.
Go on, the boy. How big was it?
I think that was £33.
That's special from a place like that, though, isn't it?
About an hour later, I've had a £35 common.
Jesus.
And it's like, this is the stuff of dreams. Got the kids out doing a bit of whip fishing, because we took something to keep them amused. They've caught some roaching and that just before dark. Next morning, just couldn't find any fish. They weren't there. So it's like, right, pack up, get to the Monkey Climber Syndicate. And we did 2 nights on there. Had a couple of fish. They weren't big, a 22 and a 12 or something like that. Absolutely cracking trip. Just, took the kids. I think they enjoyed it.
They did not enjoy that, mate, did they?
Well, it's them trips that you'll always look back on.
Or
I will.
Your kids are scarred from those trips, mate.
So then, I've still got my Monkey Climber ticket. Just couldn't justify fishing it. 2019, I've been taking Bobby carp fishing, but I didn't want him to grow up carp fishing. Just carp fishing. You know how we all got into float fishing?
Oh, this is his classic nostalgic look. They've got to be able to plumb the depth. They've got to be able to catch some gudgeon on the canal.
So I've gone out and bought a little bit of match fishing kit. It's been 15 years since I've match fished. When I've walked in that angling direct at Preston, which was Ted Carter's when I knew it, I couldn't believe how much fishing tackle had moved on. Granted, I've always been fishing, but carp fishing, I've seen them carp fishing progressions gradual every day.
Yeah.
The match fishing, it's 15 years, bang. Method feeder molds, pellet wagglers, all this sort of fishing.
Puller bungs, mate. Puller kits or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
That did my head.
So I've started taking Bobby feeder fishing, and I got into it myself a bit too much, and I loved it, absolutely loved it, because my carp fishing had died down that much that I was only doing a few European trips a year.
Right.
I've refound the love for going fishing all the time. But we had a trip booked to the Monkey Climber Syndicate. Teed it in with the Liverpool match again. We went to watch Liverpool away at Southampton.
Wow.
Straight from Southampton to Folkestone, to the tunnel.
Yeah.
Straight to Belgium. I thought we timed it a week or 2 early because it's spring. And remember, I never catch anything in spring. Spoke to Gio after the first night. I'd moved on to fish, put a bit of bait in, and then the fish showed up where I'd been previously. It's like, it's a tiny lake. I'm on here on my own. I can cast wherever I want. Not move. I'll just cast at showing fish. Anyway, Gio said to me, nobody in Belgium really fishes zigs. He said, I reckon they'd be bang up for a zig if you could fish them. So I put some zigs out. I had 2 the next morning. Not massive fish. I think they're both up at doubles. And then I've just thought, right, cast white pop-up on a hinge stiff out of showing fish. So I've chucked at one, put the rod on the floor, sat there. It's just fizzed off. They pull in there, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely fizzed off. I had this £28 common going into the final night of the trip. And it's like, chuck, where I've seen fish, leave them. At first light, on the last morning of the trip, it pulled up. I've run out dead excited. I'm shouting Bobby. Bobby wouldn't get out of bed.
Early doors.
He's just watching through the corner of his eye from the comfort of his bed. And I'm playing this fish, and it's the biggest common in the lake. Probably didn't know it at the time, but I knew it was a big one. Weighed it, I think it was either 36 or 38 pound. And basically, I packed up that morning, all my carp gear. We headed back to England, and my carp gear hasn't been out since. I've just got into match fishing.
What year is that?
2019.
19. Right, here's my question. Do you think, obviously there's a lot going on in life, you've got kids, responsibilities have all come in. Do you think, ultimately, the reason that you stopped your carp fishing and went to match fishing was because of carp fishing burnout, as in you did so much so hard at such a young age? Or do you think that it was because of the fact that responsibility came in, the sort of goalpost shifted in terms of your carp fishing, and that's why you found the buzz or whatever you need to get from your fishing from match fishing?
Initially, it was because I've just been doing these European trips, they were still taking up so much time, and could just go match fishing on an afternoon, not actually a match, but pleasure fishing, and just get me fishing in a couple of hours and then come home. That then led to fishing the matches. So I was just doing a little bit of pleasure fishing on the match style, catching loads of fish. More fish in an afternoon than I'd catch in a year doing my carp fishing trip.
Yeah. It's so different.
It's so, yeah, it is.
I've seen people, don't get me wrong, I'm not slating match fishing because mate, I love a bite. I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? As long as people are happy, they can do whatever they want to do. But I've seen a lot of people go through the standard, as you did when you started, match fishing into carp fishing. I've seen a few carp anglers, namely sort of Kev Hewitt, Mark Bartlett, and there's probably more of us out there who like a bit of feed fishing in the winter.
They can do a lot of both them too. I don't get
There's
that.
a bit of crossover, but yeah, I get it. But I don't know of many anglers. In fact, I don't know really of anyone apart from yourself, maybe, that has gone from carp fishing, as you said, the cool waters where you ain't getting loads of bites, but my God, those fish are significant. I'll take you back to your first 40. Do you know what I mean? And the likes of to go from that into something that probably on a fishing level could not be more of a polar opposite. Like loads of bites, frantically busy. You're struggling not to catch, really. And you're not got the time. You've got a short window to do it in 5 hours or whatever your match is. I've not seen a lot of that. It seems quite like contradictory in an angling sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked all the time, why, how. I haven't got a straight answer. I really haven't got a straight answer.
You get the same buzz on a match lake in 5 hours that you would get from catching a...
No, I don't think you do get the same buzz. You get a different buzz. Definitely not the same. But it's not something I could get asked all the time. I reckon, though, I'm as buzzing, if not more buzzing, for this, what I'm doing now, as I ever was then.
Really?
Yeah. But like I've said about how I wanted to take me carp fishing as high a level as I could and do as much as I could and not do things by half, I've done the same in my match fishing. Fished club matches and fished qualified. I just couldn't sit at one level.
Right, yeah, you've progressed through and taken that. Because, I mean, imagine now you competed internationally, mate, like a couple of weeks ago. And that was your first sort of international tournament breaking into that team. But I'd imagine the build-up to that, your match fishing has taken more and more time. There's more and more prep. There's more and more to compete at that level, isn't there not?
Yeah, when you use the word contradictory before, I don't think contradict any more than me saying I haven't got time to do the carp fishing anymore. So much more time consuming now. It's like I said, I wouldn't go fishing abroad after September. I've gone this year, September, October, November, and for longer trips. It's grabbed me, mate. It really has grabbed me. And
what is it? Is it the competition?
Oh, 100% competition.
There's nothing to do with the fishing because it can't.
It's the fishing. I'm still very carp orientated. I do a bit of bream fishing and a little bit of skimmer fishing, a little bit of silver fishing.
Oh,
but
your former self would have slapped yourself around the face.
I've unhooked bigger bream in the edge.
That's what I mean.
Than I've ever caught fishing from normally.
You've lost your head, haven't you? What's gone on there, mate?
But yeah, it's the competitive.
Yeah, I can get this sort of competition, maybe.
But then earlier I'd said when I fished them pairs matches in the
you didn't like
carp,
it.
I didn't like it.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, not as controversial, but there is, and there shouldn't be because we're all anglers of a different sort of. We just have a different way of going about doing it. But there is often that sort of match camp, carp camp rivalry, and like. There has been recent incidents, and sometimes social media is its own worst enemy in terms of this, but where people have like carp anglers have gone at match anglers for fish care and vice versa, really, sometimes, when in terms of stuff like that. I won't go into specifics, but there was a pretty high-profile person that put a picture up of a load of big uns in a keep net, there's a video even, and it was unbelievable, the sort of backlash. What coming from a carp background where you've got that sort of, I'm not going to say significance because all fish are significant, but you know what I mean. They're given names, they're held in high regard. There's every sort of fish care, mats, carp care kits, etc. sort of norm. Going into the match environment where I know there are keep let limits. I know there's all that's come into play in more recent times. Have you found any of that sort of conflictory? Have you found any of that difficult to deal with? Have you found that just that is how it is and no fuss sort of thing?
At first, it was a bit bizarre because you'd see... I had no problem putting them in keep nets because they're small carp.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time, small carp. I saw one fella toss his fish back once from a weigh bag, and it's a bit iffy, that, isn't it? And like another fella, they had a mat there for you to put your keep as you poured fish out your keep net. And he's gone and put his keep net next to the mat.
Just poured them in.
No, he's like put it next to the mat.
Oh, so it's not on the mat?
No, it's just next to it. And I said, Dave, it's not on the mat. I've pulled him on that. And is that better for you? And it took a lot of getting used to. But what you have to see is them carp are completely different fish to the ones that you are fishing for in a carp fishing bag. They are bred for that style of fishing. They are bred to be put in keep nets. And you've almost got to sort of blank it out your mind a little bit.
It's interesting, isn't it? I've seen like a fair few stockings in my time, and when those carp come in to be stocked, they are rammed next to each other in slings because it's the safest way to transport them. Yeah. And there is that whole debate around sometimes if you really give that much of a sort of a...
You wouldn't put a hook in.
You wouldn't stick a hook in it in the first place, would you? But sometimes I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? And you do often see it, and that carp angler comes into it, you think, oh, you just wince a little bit and think, oh, no.
But then, count foul-looked fish in matches.
Yeah, that's a bit of you, isn't it?
But there's me saying earlier that I've had 2 foul-looked big uns out of Lynch Hill, never lifted them out of the water or anything. And now you can win a match by a couple of pounds, and you might have had a bigger one than that that's foul-looked that you never, ever caught. It's just a dumb thing, isn't it?
It's different, isn't it? What's the? It seems like every match fisher that I've been to, I've done a fair bit when I was with Angling Direct and spent some time with some really good match anglers. I know Rob Wootton, scruffiest man in angling, as you call him, tightest man in England, in angling as well, you call him.
Let's leave Rob alone.
Yeah, top boy, and the likes of mate Ringer and everybody. The crack seems pretty good, mate. There is a lot there is in carp fishing, but obviously there's a lot of time where it's a quite solitary, relatively selfish pursuit. Whereas the match fishing side, you might be out for yourself and a win, but that you're in very close proximity to each other for a lot of the time, and there is a bit of banter, isn't there?
Yeah, but there's the draw as well. You know, the draw at the start of the day, everybody meets up. It has changed ever so slightly since COVID. But yeah, you're bumping into everybody, and then you're obviously going to be sat next peg or in between 2 people all day. It's a very long day if you don't have a crack.
Well, you give them some, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a good day this year with Lee Kerry.
Yes.
And Lee, if you don't know him that well, he's so professional. Dots his I's, crosses his T's. He's the most professional angler in the game because he runs such big matches. Once he knows you can give a bit, he'll give you it back 10 times worse.
What sort of matchy banter's going on
there? Well, just had a good crack all day, and I beat him off the next peg by about 6 hours.
You love that, don't you? Look how much he loves that.
And he announced at the presentation, he said, in third, beating me by 6 hours, so he got it in. But yeah, that was a little claim to fame at the time.
Do you think you'll go back into carp fishing?
Don't think so. I think I could potentially do the odd foreign trip. If Darryl Peck's watching this and he wants to take me on the Orient on his boat for a week, I think I'd go there. He's bought me a pint before, so
has he?
Yes.
He bought you a pint to get out of his face up there. I tell you what, lad, take this, sit over there. No, fair play. Yeah, so maybe a foreign trip, yeah? But you are in now team match fishing, like competing at national standard. That is ridiculous, to be fair, to do that. It's pretty impressive. Do you think that your carp fishing sort of grounding stood you in good stead? Is there a lot of transfer between the two or not?
I think there's a lot more that carp anglers could learn from match anglers.
Do you think there's more the other way there?
Yeah, I do.
Like what?
Just feeding. I used to turn up and put a bucket bait out and sit on it. I know you've said about Grenville where you've put so many boilies out, and I had to do that to get bites, but I look back now and go back to my spring fishing that I keep going on about. You can kill your chances straight away, can't you, by putting so much bait in. I think I'd definitely feed.
It's black with them out there, mate.
No, but I mean on the carp fishing side.
What, you think that...
If I was fishing them waters again...
You'd feed differently? You'd feed little and often?
Yeah, maybe not little and often, but I'd feed a lot less at the start and work your way into a session as opposed to bang, 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 there's a bucket of bait. They either have it or they don't.
Yeah. Do you think there's something sort of tactical or technical? I know you're talking about baiting. I don't know. Yeah, I get that you maybe put less bait in or fish for a bite at a time and that whole adage. You hear it anyway in carp fishing. We can be guilty of making that mistake of just tipping it in or not recasting maybe. We don't see that. Like, you see that in and out quite a lot when you match fishing. But
I was on a feature at St John's once with Bournesey.
Yeah.
And I'd been sat on this spot for like 2 or 3 days, load of bait, not had a bite. And I've redone a rod, put it over the same spot.
Yeah.
And it's gone within an hour or so. And you can't tell, but I genuinely don't think you think they almost mark things as a danger?
Yeah, I think that. And also, I think that's sometimes why fishing 3 rods on a spot works so well, doesn't it? You're fishing 3 different parts of the spot. Yeah. Unless you're someone like Tom Maker who can fish the same inch. I'm nowhere near it, different postcode. But like 3 different areas, if they mark one, you've still got 2 chances. If one presentation, we're going back to the silkworm days and all that, if one was tangled in an absolute heap, hopefully one of the 3 was all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about, I know that in match fishing there's a fair bit of like PVA stuff that's come in. The feeder stuff's quite, there is a bit of crossover I get with that in terms of like, I've seen a lot of bigger reels being used for feeder fishing. There's all that sort of that's in there.
I think the casting from carp fishing definitely helped me 100%, because I do sort of fancy myself as one of the better distance casters a lot of the time. I mean, there's people who are just so natural at casting they can do it anyway, but people can't cast as everything, and they'll admit that. But the carp fishing background of the spodding, I mean, when you're spodding, you're almost practicing your casting, aren't you? And that's definitely.
You got the spod out? Could you get the spod out?
There's not many matches allow it. I have used it in a match and on one water, and it was like a dinner bell.
I was going to say you'd have
but that's because that had been carp fished, that venue, so they had seen the spod.
Right.
The spom, sorry, because it's all spom, not spod.
Or dot spod.
Yeah, dot spod, air spod.
Dot spod air, that's out there. Yeah, I'll get you one of them. So what, it's been banned, has it? On a lot of places?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was banned or just never allowed in the first place.
Oh, okay. Right, fair dues.
But the waters where it does get allowed, it's pretty dangerous.
It's just a lot of fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that efficiency, what got me, it was almost, when you go carp fishing, it's almost about getting a bite, being able to sort of, I don't know, get a bite in whatever, even on high stock waters. It could be pressure, it could be the opposite, it could be low stock and you're just trying to find them. But on a lot of these venues, it's being in the water the most time, being efficient at what you do, and it's not necessarily it's about getting everything right, but it is just about being that sort of like absolute machine, isn't it? It's just rhythm and like, they're ridiculous, some of them.
It depends where you go. Some matches, because there's that many fish in there, it's almost a fish race.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
If if you fall behind, you might never catch it up. A lot of the waters where I've fished, like your Boddington, your Barston and your JCB, because you're after bigger fish, it doesn't become quite that at most times of the year, because you can beat somebody on stamper fish as well.
Yeah.
There's not really any way of selecting them bigger fish, but you could have 2 for £30, somebody could have 4 for 28.
And they're those sort of, and I was going to come on to that, those sort of crossover venues. You named
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You named Boddington.
Yeah.
They've got, if you like, enough big fish in to run a carp match fishing, and they've got enough to run a feeder match or whatever other match you want to do. Do you, when you've fished those matches and you've, I don't know, maybe seen a potential for some bigger fish, do you not get the sort of carp buzz or head back on?
Oh, because that's not the sort of water I was fishing when I was carp fishing.
Yeah, true.
If you know what I mean.
True.
It's like if I've had a 20-pounder out of JCB, that picture with that fish, and it's not going to sit next to that Cassian common, is it? You know what I mean?
No. I think it's incredible that you've managed to do that. Not only fish so hard, coming from where you've come from and being sort of a part of the industry, the carp scene, working in the media, but then to sort of almost reinvent yourself at a very young age and then go into the match world, which is a completely different world, and I imagine would be a bit weird when you first go in there because it's changed so much. I found it weird, mate, just going back, like angling direct days and seeing the tackle and the kit change so much, but let alone going into a scene where a lot of the match anglers that you're fishing against have just match fished for their whole entire life, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I had a subscription to like Advanced Pole Fishing magazine because
you were doomed from the start.
Advanced Carp Fishing, Total Carp. There was about 8 different varieties of that. Now there's none, or is there still Total Carp?
It's still Total Carp.
So anyway, I had that Advanced Pole Fishing, and I think like the big players then were the Team England boys: Scott On, Darren Cox, Stuart Conroy, Bob Nudd, Tommy Pickering. And it's mad when you turn up for a match and that person that you've looked up to for that long is there drawing just before you. And he's still been fishing them 20 years. You haven't.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Darren Cox, I've called him in such high regard. And just another bloke that you can have a crack with. Lovely, absolute lovely fella. And he was at that level of his game then. And he's still at it now.
I was going to say, when you fish against those lads, what? I mean, you're an England international now, so I probably shouldn't be asking you this. But do they live up to that hype that you have in your head about? I mean, they must do, because why would they still be doing it and winning things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you find about the bigger boys and the more experienced ones, they make less mistakes, and that's what will get you over the line. It's who makes the least mistakes.
Right. What's the future? More match fishing?
More match fishing. Future, hopefully win gold medal in Bulgaria in September. Got a lot of fishing to do before then, but yeah, that's where we're off with the method feeder team next. Got a few foreign trips next year, mate.
All match fishing now?
Yeah. Go to Spain, March. I think we'll go to Romania in May.
Jeez.
Might fit a weekend in Bulgaria in, just watching another match ready for ours.
And then you got the big one.
Yeah.
So what we got September? We got less than a year, haven't we?
Well, that's it. The World Championships we fished this year is November. When we've come back from that, we've only got 10 months till the next one because of the time of year. Got to try and get out there for a practice as well. Which
you'll be out there, mate. You're just like that little carper that just went around everywhere. You're doing the same thing, but match fishing, you've lost your absolute mind. I don't know how your missus does. Claire, I don't know how you've done it. We should have got Claire on here and got her point of view. I can't believe you've taken...
You're like Jeremy Kyle.
Mate, you're taking the kids to Belgium on the canal. Oh, I can't believe it. It's brilliant, mate. But genuinely, mate, I can't thank you enough, A, for sort of hosting, and Whitmore Fishery for letting us on, but also for taking the time to speak to us because, mate, I've planned it with you, and it's an incredible sort of life, and you're only relatively young, mate. You've done so much in so little time, and it's, mate, it's fascinating. It's a story you don't hear so much, and I'm sure that a lot of people will sort of, not only be entertained by it, because there's a lot of entertainment in there, but also it's inspiring. It doesn't really matter. At any point, you can change direction. There's no rules to any of it. And, mate, you've done well in both regards. Yeah. So thank you for coming on.
Not a problem, mate. Thank you for having me. It took long enough, didn't it?
Well, you're an hard man to track down when you've got internationals every 10 minutes. I've got no time. Why have you got no time? Are you working? No, I'm not working. I'm chucking a feeder somewhere is what I'm doing. No, mate, it is what it is. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
I've got some quick fire questions, mate. You haven't been able to see this. He actually tried to nick my notepad.
I've seen one of them.
Look at him, mate.
I've seen one of them and I still haven't got an answer
He
for it.
can't read my handwriting either, but he's ever the Cumbrian dodgy bloke. He's just tried to read him off. Right, you ready? For the rest of your days, carp fishing or match fishing? The rest of your days, remember, you could change it. What are you picking?
As far as I can see it, at this moment in time, it'll be match fishing all the way at the highest level possible.
He's dead to us all. When he gets dropped next week from the old team, he'll be back at St John's, mate. 3 celebrities you'd take fishing and why? Past or present?
3 celebrities I'd take fishing. Wish I had a look at these. You've got me with this one. It's got to be a footballer, hasn't it?
Liverpool, in it.
What sort of football fisherman?
They don't have to be a fisherman. You can take anyone, mate.
Tyson Fury.
I reckon he'd like a bit of angling.
Yeah, for the comedy value. I wouldn't be taking Sam Smith, although he did allude to wanting to go fishing, didn't he?
He's on
I think we mate Chris Weeder wants to take him.
Oh, it's got some banter in, hasn't it?
Right, so we've got 1 down.
We've got Tyson Fury, 2 left to pick from.
Stephen Gerrard.
Oh, mate, yep, Stephen Gerrard. Liverpool. Why support Liverpool, mate?
Just my dad. I'm from my dad. Dad was a season ticket holder in the old Cop.
I'll let you off.
So we've got Tyson Fury and Stephen Gerrard. Can't say a female, can I? Because I'll upset the wife.
I think you can.
Celebrity.
Could be for other reasons than what you're thinking of females. Though. Come on, mate.
I'm getting enough hot water with other answers on other videos.
What sort of videos you been doing?
England interview with the 20 questions. Got me on this one, mate. I would have to say...
Well, it's because you can't pick a woman is why it's got you, isn't it?
Oh. Tyson Fury, Stephen Gerrard and... Lee Mack.
Lee Mack,
Yeah.
a bit of comedy.
Yeah, he's my favourite comedian.
Yeah, fair dude.
Yeah.
I'll take those. Drum and bass or country and western?
Either, really.
But you have to pick one, that's the old point.
I think Reedy put me off drum and bass when he took me to... What was that spot called?
Fabric. You went Fabric, didn't you?
Yeah,
With Reedy.
yeah, we went on one of the Nash Christmas parties to Fabric, so it'd have to be country and western, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, that's all right, mate. Fish only in the UK for the rest of your life or never fish in the UK again?
And fish abroad, you mean?
Yeah, so basically
Yeah,
fish
fish
at home,
abroad.
fish abroad. You
Fish
just
abroad,
fish abroad.
100%.
Why is that?
The culture of the trips, the experience, the angling experience that you gain. Not so much on the carp fishing side, but when you're match fishing against these Europeans, you learn so much. Such a harsher environment. And yeah, that's all I'd ever do if I had to or could.
It's got a bit matchy for a carp fishing podcast. I'm joking. It's all right. One species, one method, one venue. Good question, that.
Carp.
Carp?
On a method feeder.
Yeah.
On JCB North Lake.
Just basically frustrated carp angler. It's good. It's good. Right, here we go.
This is the question. Well,
Who wins?
All right, no.
Who wins? Barston, the fishery.
Yeah.
Carp Team England. That's Ryan Need, Wayne Mansford, the boys. Versus the England method feeder team, which you're in. Who wins? But be honest there.
That's a difficult one to say, to gauge, because them weights they have at Barston on the carp matches are ridiculous. They seem to catch a lot bigger fish.
Yep.
Every picture you see, don't know what the record is at Barston now, but Tom Maker and his dad had it at £1,200, 48 hours.
Yep.
I think we'd struggle to do that with the stamp of fish we catch, because in your carp matches, you only count carp. We can back that up with skimmers, F1s, what have you, put 40, £50 of them.
You can have your skimmers, you can have your F1s in with your carp. Who's winning? It's a 24-hour match.
I don't think we'd stay awake long enough.
You'd be goners, wouldn't you?
No, I think we'd Is it just method feeder, or could we fish the pole as well?
You can fish whatever you like, mate. You get absolutely battered. You wouldn't. They've got 3 rods.
2 apiece.
What?
2 apiece. They fish as a pair, don't they?
Yeah, but whatever. They've got. Okay, so you've got.
Yeah, we couldn't fish 2 rods. You possibly could with a feeder, but
You can't have a feeder out on a pole going, can you? That's against all match fishing rules, isn't it?
you never said there were any rules, did you?
Yeah, well, I'll put rules in. But basically, the carp team England would smash you,
I
wouldn't they?
think they'd be hard to beat.
Yeah, that's good. Hard to beat means they'd smash you up. That's fine. History carp you wish you'd caught.
History carp. I saw this question and it's been in the back of my mind, and I can't give you too much of an accurate answer, but I always had a thing for the dustbin.
Yeah.
At Yateley, I've already mentioned that.
That photo. Terry.
But then could I go against a fish that I actually tried to catch and didn't? And that'd be the mother at Elstow too.
Which one would you take if you had to?
Dustbin.
Yeah, exactly. So you could go against it. Right, one angler to catch a carp to save your life. Who is it?
Steve Ringer.
Steve Ringer. Fair play. Final question. A night out on the bank. This is not just a 5-hour session and going home of the day, or a night in with the missus. Which one are you taking?
Don't get a chance to do either of them, to be honest.
Do you not? How have you managed that?
I never get any time at home. It would be a night on the bank, and I'm afraid she knows. She knows that.
I've got to respect that answer. Mate, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I'll be back soon with another podcast. Until then, Joe Jaggar, mate, you're a legend. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Hassan.